Tonight, two of the finest heavyweights to ever enter the octagon return to the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Maurice Smith, former UFC heavyweight champion of the world. Marco Ruas, UFC 7 champion, the king of the streets. Both men know what it takes to succeed at this level. Both men are out to recapture past glory. Both men willing to battle it out in the most intense full-contact event in the world today. Maurice Smith versus Marco Ruas. Plus, UFC lightweight champion and hometown favorite Pat Miletich puts his title on the line. It's time to get real. UFC 21 is next.
Tonight, the UFC comes of age in the heartland of America. This is the city of 5 seasons on the banks of the Cedar River, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. The state of Iowa has great culture and tradition. For decades, the farmlands have produced an abundance of corn and national champion wrestlers. And tonight, the Octagon is unveiled for the first time in this great state, and we welcome the greatest mixed martial artist in the world for UFC 21. Hi again, everybody. I'm Mike Goldberg, and welcome inside the Octagon. Tonight, the UFC comes of age. We turn 21. It is our 25th UFC overall, and it is a special night because Dan Gable is a name known across the country for winning national wrestling champions. And tonight, we will have 4 Iowa natives fighting in front of their hometown crowds inside the world-famous Octagon. The lightweight champion is Pat Miletich. You already knew that. He will defend his title tonight. He will have the hometown crowd on his side. And, of course, a couple of great heavyweight matchups. And speaking of great heavyweights, here's my partner, the Olympic gold medalist Jeff Blatnick, Maurice Smith, Marco Ruas, 2 former champions, a fight for the ages, if you will.
Well, it certainly is. Both are former champions. Both have tremendous skill sets. Marco Ruas, a grappler who added striking skills. Maurice Smith, a striker who added grappling skills. Both have had some great matches in the UFC. I really think this is going to be a competitive match, and if either of these fighters want to put themselves back in the heavyweight picture, they need to do well here tonight.
Well, certainly both those fighters know that. Maurice, for the first time perhaps, exception being Tank Abbott, not fighting a wrestler tonight. Could he strike more? We will see. Pat Miletich in the lightweight fight says he will strike more tonight.
Well, Pat felt that he's worked so much on the ground game that he's neglected some of his striking skills. So he's really emphasized his punching. We know he's very good from both the guard and from on top, either in the mount or trapped in a guard. He's very effective as a striker. But Pederneiras is a great jiu-jitsu specialist, tremendous with submissions. Pat Miletich is going to need to be careful if it does go on the ground.
Well, indeed, he is a good ground fighter, but Pat Miletich knows that that is his world. As always here at the UFC, we try to evolve the sport. We go back into the meeting rooms and we try to be better for you, the UFC fan, every time. And a change tonight due to the Council of the Mixed Martial Arts Commission, and there will be a new scoring system in place.
Well, that's correct. We've been looking at it for a long time, and we decided to take the initiative and do it on our own instead of someone asking to do it. 3 judges will score a bout, but instead of 1 single length bout time, we have gone to rounds. In the preliminary, it'll be 2 5-minute. In a non-title fight, it'll be 3 5-minute. And in our championship title fights, 5 5-minute rounds. In addition, we have looked at the criteria for scoring. We have gone from a 1 card and the judge going ahead and scoring a fight in its duration to now the rounds and a 10-point must system. The winner must get 10. The loser can get 9 or less. Fouls will be a point penalty and will be deducted after you determine the scoring of the round. Criteria is based on effective striking, grappling, and octagon control along with aggressiveness.
And we will talk more about that throughout the night with the knockdowns, the throws, the heavy effective striking, and the near submissions.
And that is what will determine a dominating round, when you can go ahead and score it 10-8 or even a 10-7. But much less than a 10-7, you would think that Big John McCarthy realizes this one person's in trouble, is being scored on in multiple ways. It might be the end of the fight. So it's going to be rare to see that unless fouls are really introduced.
We look forward to it tonight. Our judges are Kip Kolar from Hartford, Connecticut, Tom Latuli from Chicago, Illinois, and Tony Mullinax, a black belt in karate and taekwondo from the Fighting City of Atlanta, Georgia. A lot of Iowa natives excited about fighting in front of the hometown fans tonight. And one of those is one of the finest wrestlers ever to come out of the Iowa Hawkeye program. A two-time national champion, Royce the Farmer Alger, against Eugene Jackson. That will be our first of 3 middleweight fights in tonight's UFC 21. Alger and Jackson will be fight 1.
Royce the Farmer Alger is one of the most decorated amateur wrestlers of all time. A 3-time Big Ten champion, 2-time NCAA champion, and 3-time U.S. Open champion. This middleweight is also a member of the Iowa Hall of Fame. He made his UFC debut in May of 1997 at UFC 13, losing via armbar only 2 minutes into the fight. Alger returns to the octagon, having won his last 3 mixed martial arts matches since that disappointing loss, and is eager to earn his place among the elite middleweights in the UFC.
This is a paid street fight here, boy. This is, all the boys are, all the boys are going to be there, and this ain't one of them deals where, you get a handshake at the end and the other guy gets his hands raised or you get yours raised. This is a deal where, somebody's going down and you just hope it ain't you.
It's like you've made it. Okay, I'm at that point now. So that means most people who step into the octagon, they're not your backyard, some fool that thought he could fight at a bar. I mean, these people, they come with credentials. So you better come and bring the real deal with you.
I guarantee you, this man entering the octagon tonight, making his debut, Eugene Jackson, they call him the Wolf, will bring his whole game with him. He says the home court advantage can be twofold. He's going to try to take the crowd out of it, get inside Royce Alger early. Eugene Jackson's fought in Brazil before where nobody liked him. Not many people in the crowd here tonight are going to like Eugene Jackson tonight. Eugene Jackson, 32 years old, from East Palo Alto, California.
Jackson, a strong puncher, is going up against a grappler, and Royce Alger will probably want to take it to the ground. So the question is, what kind of punching skills does he bring? It's his debut. We will see.
Bruce leaves this area, all right?
Tonight he takes on a 2-time national champion, 3-time U.S. Open champion, 3-time Big Ten wrestling champion. From Lisbon, Iowa, now fighting out of Iowa City, Royce the Farmer Alger.
Man's a great wrestler. I've watched him many times, covered his national championships when he won them for the University of Iowa under Dan Gable. And he's had many close matches with the likes of Kevin Jackson, who we've seen in mixed martial arts, but who was also in wrestling an Olympic champion.
Royce Alger, an alternate in the 1992 Olympic Games to former UFC fighter Kevin Jackson. Royce Alger comes in at 34 years old, 5'10", 199 pounds. A wrestler against a freestyle fighter, and given the middleweight division, the weight not going to be an issue tonight. Eugene Jackson, the Wolf, against Royce Alger, the Farmer. In our first middleweight bout, for the official introductions, here's the veteran voice of the Octagon, Mr. Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from the Five Seasons Center in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Tonight, SCG Sports presents UFC 21, the return of the champions. Tonight, 12 of the finest mixed martial artists in the world will all compete and defend their honor in the world's ultimate testing ground, the Octagon. And now, the fighters are ready. The fans of Iowa are ready. Those of you watching around the world are ready. Because now, it's time to begin the Ultimate Fighting Championship! This UFC is sanctioned by the Iowa Athletic Commission with Deputy Commissioner Mr. Larry Dawson. Our first bout of the evening is a middleweight bout, beginning with the fighter standing to my left. This will be a 3-round fight, 5 minutes each round's duration. He is a freestyle fighter with a mixed martial arts record of 8-2. Standing 5 feet, 8 inches tall, weighing in at 197 pounds. He's fighting out of East Palo Alto, California. Please welcome Eugene Jackson. And his opponent, no stranger to the fans of Iowa. He is a 2-time NCAA national champion, a 3-time Big Ten champion, a 3-time US Open wrestling champion. He has a mixed martial arts record of 3-1, and he's a veteran of UFC 13, standing 5 feet, 10 inches tall, and fighting out of Iowa City, Iowa. Please welcome Royce, the Farmer, Alger. And our referee for this event is Big John McCarthy.
Big John McCarthy, a constant since UFC 2, working his 24th UFC here tonight. Here is our middleweight matchup between Alger and Eugene Jackson.
All right, here we go, gentlemen. Are you ready?
A very competent mixed martial artist himself, Big John McCarthy. And we're starting. And let's see what Jackson brings to the table with punching. Alger's not afraid to punch.
Physical strength and punching power, two of the big attributes of Eugene Jackson. 8-2 in his mixed martial arts career, 5-2 in pan press.
Under Pancras rules, he should be familiar with the guard, Eugene Jackson. Alger's only familiarity with the guard would probably be being trapped in one, trying to punch down.
He was armbarred at 140 in his UFC debut back in Augusta, Georgia. On May 30th, 1997 was Royce Alger and Ensign Inoue.
Wow, inside trip by Alger out of a double underhook. Nice wrestling move, but unable to knock Jackson down. Jackson very game there, able to counter that takedown attempt by Alger. And a common tactic is people use the fence to help them. Back into the fence so you can't fall over.
Is Alger just looking for an opportunity to shoot, Jeff?
He will. Here it is again. Nice double leg. There's the fence to save Jackson yet again. Nice job by Alger to stop it again, but Jackson very game in there, but Alger's got him locked up. I think he's going to get him down. He grabbed the fence. That's probably a warning by Big John McCarthy.
He can lean on the fence, but he cannot grab it. One of the rules instituted by the Mixed Martial Arts Commission.
This has got to be taking a lot of energy by Alger. There it is. He's got him down now. He is caught in a choke. Guillotine choke, but working on the hands now. Might be able to breathe. He's turned his head in. The main thing here is to relax. Eugene Jackson doesn't want to squeeze too hard, wants position first. Keep him down, and now Alger's going to be able to keep. Oh, Jackson again. Grabbing the fence, though. I'm not sure if John McCarthy saw that.
Just kind of had his hand on it for a second. Big John McCarthy always has a fighters meeting the night before the competition takes place inside the octagon, Jeff, to make sure that every fighter is well aware of all the rules and regulations that take place inside this guarded octagon.
And the rule reads, you're allowed to grab it momentarily, but to hang on to it is when the foul will occur. Right hand by Alger.
There's a knee, but it did not hit the fence.
Oh!
And now Royce Alger takes Eugene Jackson down.
Side. He's got a side mount here. He can knee to the side. To bring a forearm down to the head.
Royce told me yesterday, Jeff, he's going to be a bit cautious, though, because he got caught in the submission last time. Not going to go for anything too quickly. Doesn't want to get himself out of control.
This is a wrestling position. Holding a man on his back, controlling the arms. I'm not sure he wants to stick his hands between those legs at all. He's a ground and pound specialist. He likes to do this. Now full mount.
Eugene Jackson.
He maintains his balance.
Oh, another one!
Jackson firing punches back, but they do not have near the steam that the punch is coming down to.
Looking for an arm or a wrist,
Tangled arm, tangled arm. what we call a key lock, but he doesn't have it on right.
1 minute, 24 seconds remaining in round one.
I'm not sure he wants to give up his tactic of ground and pound. It's been very successful. Start messing around with the arms there.
Oh, and another right! And a combination! Jackson is in trouble! Alger in a full mount and delivering punches. And Jackson weathers the storm. Great job by Eugene Jackson.
Able to bridge out. Again, when you punch down, you're vulnerable. And when Alger punched down, he arched, turned to the side, able to unbalance Alger and get himself back to his feet. Oh, left hand by him. That staggered Alger. Big left hand by Eugene Jackson.
Royce went right down and grabbed the leg, not only to get away from a strike, but also to give himself a second to regather himself. Now he has. What a great first round of our first fight of the evening. A knee.
And that was close to almost being a kick. It hit down below the knee on the shin, but really was ineffectual. John McCarthy didn't call it. It was Royce getting up from the ground there that allowed that to happen.
Royce is in trouble a bit again. 15 seconds remaining in round one.
He got stunned by that left hand by Jackson. I don't think he's fully recovered yet, and he might have punched himself out on top.
Here's where the rounds are going to help Royce Alger, though. We think, if he can make it. He's staggered still, Jeff.
He's tired. I think he might have punched himself out. He might have punched himself out.
Royce Alger really threw it to Eugene Jackson when he had the full mount going. But Eugene Jackson, in the other corner, looks no worse for wear, comes up and does a great job back on his feet.
That's going to be a close round to score. Both people had good moments in that round. Right off the bat, Alger wanted this to be down on the ground, but it was Jackson with some nifty counters keeping this fight up on its feet. Repeatedly, Alger kept coming in there, but Jackson stopped him. Eventually, Alger gets him down and gets to full mount, and this is when he connected with some very effective strikes. Jackson throwing punches there, none of them really connecting, but it was enough to defend against Alger and slow him down. But once Eugene Jackson got back to his feet, that left hand, right there, you can see it. Alger stunned, goes back to the leg shot to kill time and was able to get through the round. And we're about to start number two.
The second of 3 5-minute rounds. Royce Alger and Eugene Jackson. We're putting our judges to the test right away tonight, Jeff. A very close round one.
And you can see what Jackson's immediate tendency to do is to suck Alger into following him, make him move forward. Now Alger's stopping. He's going to say, come on, Eugene, you move forward to me. And that's more chance for Alger to go under Jackson and get a takedown like that. Misses with the punch that allows Alger to shoot, but it seems like Alger might be getting tired.
You had said that he may have punched himself out in round one. The break is different than it used to be, Jeff. How quickly can someone of Royce Alger's condition regain his composure?
Well, Alger is used to wrestling periods. I mean, in 92, he had the 2 3-minute periods, which means in that minute rest, he can go ahead and recover. However, these are 5-minute rounds, which is a little bit more.
Good quickness displayed by Eugene Jackson.
Jackson's still fresh, too. You can see Alger's not trying to spin or pull that head down. Alger's definitely tired. It might have been that punch. It might have been that punch that just took it out of Alger. That left hand by Jackson.
Now, we'll see Jackson's training partner, Tim Lajcik, later on tonight. And he said he's been training with Kohsaka wrestler and a big left hand. Oh, my goodness.
That's going to do it.
Down goes Royce Alger. Conditioning a factor here in round two. Eugene Jackson.
Fantastic punch by him. He landed a left hand in the first round, but here again, big punching power, and it definitely had the edge in stamina. He was able to go ahead, weather the storm that Alger put on him in the first period and come back strong again in the second.
That away, baby, that away, that
119
away, that away.
Good job.
of round two.
Look at that left, straight left hand, and he knew it when he connected. Alger tired, kept his hands down, right there. Not up high enough to protect his head. Eugene Jackson showing great conditioning, great heart. and certainly tremendous punching power.
Now that was what we had on him. The physical strength and punching power was the MO on Eugene Jackson. He talked about his training with bigger, stronger people, thinking it would give him an advantage. I think it did here tonight.
I definitely think that helped him, but the one sequence that he won this fight on was his ability in guard to stop Alger's onslaught, then get back to his feet. At that point, he dominated.
Here's the official decision from Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner by knockout at 1 minute, 19 seconds of the second round. For the winner, Eugene Jackson. Let's have a big hand for the hometown Iowa boy, Royce Alger.
Now for Royce Alger, certainly not the ending he wanted in his return to the octagon, but for Eugene Jackson in his debut, he has sent a word to everyone that he has some punches that need to be reckoned with, that certainly can take out anybody. What a left hand there. Let's go to Mike Goldberg with Eugene Jackson.
Well, impressive indeed was the debut of Eugene Jackson. Eugene, you said yesterday that wrestling with Tim every day you thought would give you a conditioning edge. Was that a factor?
Oh, well, he was tougher than I give him credit for. He's a little monster. And when I found out I couldn't do what I wanted to do grabbing-wise, I had to start punching with him. So when he got me on the ground and he started striking me, I said, I can take these punches, so I better chance him standing up, more so than his element. So worked out to my benefit.
Well, Eugene, why did you feel you could take those punches? Because it looked like he was really going to connect when he had the full mount on you.
Well, a couple of them he did connect on, but when I was feeling them, it was like, this isn't as hard as I thought. His taking me down, I thought I could stop that. And he was better at that than I gave him credit for, but you won't be an Olympian unless you did. So when I felt his punches, I said, do I want a chance of punches or his grappling? His wrestling was superior, so I had to go where I feel I had the edge.
Well, you did indeed. Let's take a look together at the end of the fight and the knockout that ended it.
Okay.
A big left hand, Eugene. Tell us about it.
Well, I was sitting over there in my corner, was telling me what to do, and then I heard Tito in the corner telling Gene, left hook. So I just listened to him and threw the left hook in. It connected and the fight went to my favor.
Well, a TKO at 119 of round 2. Congratulations on a successful UFC debut.
Hope for many more.
Absolutely. The Wolf, Eugene Jackson, wins in his middleweight matchup, Jeff.
And that Wolf has some teeth, great hands. And we're backstage now, Maurice Smith's dressing room. He's got some time warming up, and part of the alliance is Tsuyoshi Kohsaka there. Smith working with his stablemate, both on the card tonight. TK taught Smith the guard, and Smith teaches TK striking skills. It's a great combination, and both have been successful in the Ultimate Fighting Championship.
Now, bout 2 on the card tonight is a good one indeed. A heavyweight matchup between the man you saw right there, warming up with his partner Maurice Smith, Tsuyoshi Kohsaka, to take on the man I mentioned earlier, Tim Lajcik, Eugene Jackson's training partner. Who will come away good? Could it be TK?
Tsuyoshi Kohsaka burst onto the scene at UFC 16. His victory over Chemo was one of the most exciting fights of the night, and his hard-nosed style and ability to score standing up and on the ground impressed the entire mixed martial arts community. He returned at Ultimate Brazil to take on Lions Den fighter Pete Williams, again taking on the highest level of competition and again scoring the victory by decision in a grueling 15-minute match. Because of his ability, performance, and willingness to fight the best, Kohsaka was selected as one of the finalists in the tournament to crown a new heavyweight champion. He met Bas Rutten at UFC 18, controlling on the ground throughout regulation until the future champion turned the tides in overtime to win and advance to fight for the UFC heavyweight crown. It's been 6 months since Tsuyoshi Kohsaka stepped into the octagon. Tonight, TK is back.
I have to do just 2 things, do the best and get to win. That's all.
It's not any kind of apprehension or anything like that. What I have is as an opponent across the cage from me that wants to separate me from my senses. I've faced that before, and that's, I mean, if you can put any kind of title on it, I mean, I have respect for the UFC. I mean, it's obviously an event of great magnitude, but you know, the name that you attach to it, it doesn't detract from the fact that there's going to be somebody facing me tomorrow, you know, 24 hours from now, that's going to try to separate me from my senses, and I want to try to avoid that at all costs. So.
Well, that time period is now probably about 4 minutes away for Tim Lajcik, the Bohemian, a wrestler who does have great boxing skills. A sculpted athlete similar to his training partner, Eugene Jackson. He's a heavyweight, though, comes in at 6'1", 225 pounds, fighting out of Redwood City, California. Wrestling ability, yes, but he thinks he'll have a chance to win via the hands.
Yes, he's got great wrestling skill. That's why Eugene Jackson went to him to learn some of these skills. But he's also worked very hard on his boxing. And if he's anything like Eugene Jackson, he's got some power in those fists.
Well, he coached at UC Davis, also a two-time All-American wrestler, Tim Lajcik, and his opponent, a very popular one here in the UFC. This is the 4th time that Japanese fighter Tsuyoshi Kohsaka, now fighting out of Seattle, Washington, a native of Shiga, Japan, will come inside the gates. He made his impressive debut in New Orleans in Battle of the Bayou against Timo in UFC 16. He's defeated Pete Williams. He was defeated by our heavyweight champion, Boss Ruth.
And that was a great fight. Many felt that Kohsaka was ahead, but it was 1 minute to go. Boss Ruth, somewhere in that 200-pound frame, found the energy and what he needed to take out Kohsaka with some great strikes. And Kohsaka has come back since then, and he's putting himself back into the heavyweight picture.
Absolutely, he has never left it, I don't think, partner. He is an incredible competitor. Tim Lajcik makes his debut. He's 5 years older than the man they call TK and 2 inches taller. 3 pounds different, 2 great heavyweights, one of 2 big heavyweight matchups on the card tonight. The title match, as Jeff talked about, between Maurice Smith and Marco Ruas a bit later. But first things first, here's Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next bout is a heavyweight bout consisting of 3 5-minute rounds, beginning with the fighter standing to my left. He is a wrestler and a boxer with a mixed martial arts record of 8-0 and a boxing record of 9-1. Standing 6 feet, 1 inch tall, weighing in at 228 pounds, fighting out of Redwood City, California. Please welcome Tim Lajcik. And his opponent, no stranger to the octagon. He is a submission fighter with a UFC record of 2-1. He is a veteran of UFC 16, Ultimate Brazil, and Ultimate 18. Standing 5 feet, 11 inches tall, weighing in at 225 pounds. Fighting out of Seattle, Washington, by way of Shiga, Japan. Please welcome back Tsuyoshi Kohsaka. And our referee for this event is Big John McCarthy.
Well, they're both going to throw some strikes. TK's a better kicker. Tim Lajcik is a better puncher. Not a better referee in the world than Big John McCarthy.
All right, here we go, gentlemen. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's get it on!
Here we go. Heavyweight fight number 1 of 2. A show of respect between the fighters. This is such an honor to be inside the octagon.
Ooh, that right hand whistled by Kohsaka's head. Wow.
TK says he's in the best shape of his fighting life. And a well-spoken young man in Tim Lajcik making his UFC debut, but he is undefeated in mixed martial arts competition with a record of 8-0, Jeff.
He has experience, certainly with a wrestling background, the ability to take down, and with great punching power, he makes himself a formidable opponent. He's going to take a very good grappler to put him down and keep him down. He's got great hips. You see him able to stop Kohsaka there, easily spin around, takes his back. Kohsaka to the guard.
And the TK guard, thanks to the help of some publicity from Maurice Smith, is somewhat world famous. We know that he is as well versed as any of our fighters ever inside the octagon, working in the guard. Got the half guard right now, Jim.
That's correct, but this is a position where certainly Tim Lajcik is going to enjoy. He's a power puncher. He needs to kind of straighten up to give himself room, but Kohsaka, a master here, spends lots of time in guard, very experienced. Be interesting to see how Lajcik decides to go about tactic-wise attacking him.
Keep good.
Maurice Smith, certainly TK's other half of the alliance with Frank Shamrock.
Watch his head.
Watching here
He's using
from
his head.
the corner.
Maurice Smith,
TK guard,
great competitor.
TK.
He will fight
Work
Marco
for position.
Ruas in our feature bout tonight. What a show of class that with a fight about an
Let's
hour
go.
away.
Come on.
Maurice Smith is in the corner of one of his training partners and dear friends. Tsuyoshi.
Going for an ankle. Going, he's got it trapped.
Lajcik spun nicely, Jeff. You taught me that the first time I met you and Big John McCarthy.
You never fight a submission lock. You go with it and try to accelerate through it so you create space so it never gets tight. It's always trying to get tight. And that's when you have any kind of opportunity to go ahead and get out. But Lajcik able to counter nicely. Back on top. Kohsaka's got his legs up. He's not a true guard, but he's certainly controlling them. There, it's guard. Half guard right now.
Good. There you go. There you go. There you go. Good.
There's Eugene Jackson, fresh off his UFC debut, a victorious one at that.
To that fence. Yeah,
in
there
the
you go.
corner,
Good.
Tim
Good.
Lajcik.
There you go, Tim. Good. They're good. Yes. 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 Very good. Perfect. With them elbows when you want them. Them elbows when you want them.
What an advantage to have your opponent down right in front of your corner.
He's trying to push off fence. There you go. You got them ribs too, Tim. Play both.
Jackson able to tell Lajcik what Kohsaka's doing with his legs because he can't even see them.
Good. Them ribs, baby. Keep them ribs.
TK can't wrap his feet in the most effective guard that he wants.
Keep the ribs, Tim.
Pushed up against the fence like that either.
There you go. They're good. 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 There you go. There you go.
There's an acceptable amount of damage you take in the guard. You understand that he's got opportunities to hit at you. The key is never let him hit you solid.
There you go. Don't let him spin over
Never
you.
let him get his balance so he's got pure power behind it.
There you go. Good. 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 Tim, he's trying to turn. Turn him back towards the fence, Tim. Turn him back towards the fence. Keep working the cut. There you go. There you go. Good.
And perhaps one weakness of Tsuyoshi Kohsaka is he's been known to cut.
There you go. Yeah.
And he has a small cut now next to his eye. It's not really bleeding, but certainly if it's worked on, it may start to.
When he picks up, get them ribs.
Well, Tim Lajcik told me yesterday, Jeff, when we met with him prior to the fight, that he was intent for him, being TK, to deal with me and not the other way around. And so far, TK has had to deal with Tim Lajcik.
Lajcik has really tried to initiate almost every situation here. Kohsaka tried to take down early, tried that submission, but other than those two and they were pretty effective. I mean, that was a threatening submission hold. But it's Lajcik who's really putting his will into it, fighting his kind of fight.
Trying to make a successful debut and enter into what is already a very deep and talented heavyweight division here in the UFC. Champion Randleman, Pete Williams, Pedro Pizzo, and later on, Smith and Ruas. 22 seconds remaining in the first of 3 5-minute rounds. Every fight except the feature bout tonight, or the championship bout, the lightweight, will be 3 5-minute rounds. They're back up with 10 seconds remaining in round 1. Kohsaka looks okay.
Kohsaka looks well within himself. Doesn't look like he got hurt very bad at all.
And round 1 is over, a round dominated by the newcomer, Tim Lajcik.
Okay, you guys gotta get down. Hey, score him. Okay, you guys come down. Okay, come here. Listen. Let's continue on, right? Listen to me. You kick more to left leg and work for guard more. Work for TK guard, okay? Work for the guard to get him off of you, all right? Work for guard. You have to work for guards because he's holding you.
You can see here early on Kohsaka's first attempt at a takedown, nearly able to take the hips out from Lajcik, but Lajcik, an All-American wrestler, able to hip out, get those hips flat again, and tried ground and pound tactics until this point when Kohsaka able to go after his leg, and to his credit, Lajcik able to roll with it, keep the pressure from really binding and tightening up. eventually escape from that and return to ground and pound tactics.
Here we go, the start of round 2 between Lajcik, a two-time All-American and AAU National Wrestling Champion, and also an amateur boxer with a 9-1 record, against the multi-talented Tsuyoshi Kohsaka.
Look at that. That is really good wrestling ability. You see him sprawl. His body's totally in the air, but it's accepting the energy coming into it, able to turn, and he's now in full mount.
Now, Lajcik knows one thing, though, and he said it pre-fight, Jeff. What impresses him most about TK is not his style, but the man himself. He's obviously watched tapes of Tsuyoshi Kohsaka, knows he's got a heart like a lion, and it is going to take a lot to get TK truly.
Again, he's got the leg. What flexibility by Kohsaka. You don't see Lajcik panicking at all. Nothing's locked down very tight.
Tsuyoshi Kohsaka, 12 years of judo training, a submission fighter.
Oh, he's trying to bend that ankle, unable to get to it, and Lajcik able to come back again. And Lajcik, he's a Gumby. He's a Jeremy Horn out there. We call him Horn Gumby, but this is a man that's able to bend all over.
And still a half guard here, so not the full TK guard again.
Well, TK, again, had a threatening leg attack, but Lajcik never seemed to panic, had great composure there, able to counter and come back out on top.
There you go, yeah. Good work. There you go, good. To them ribs too, to them ribs too. Perfect. Them ribs, Tim, them ribs. He's letting you have the ribs. Tim, he's trying to spin over. There you go. Keep him bait. Get him against that fence, Tim. Get him against that fence. There you go. Pull out, pull out, pull out, pull out, pull out. There you go. Good, good. There you go. Good. He's cut. Good. Tim, he's cut on both sides now. Cut him. Keep hitting that eye. Tim, it's bleeding. Good. Put your. There you
We
go.
have
Good.
not seen
Good.
TK
Good.
controlled on the ground like this before, Jeff. He controlled Boss Rutan on the ground in his fight at UFC 18. He controlled the ground against P.D. Williams, and he won that super fight in the Battle of the Bayou up on his feet. Never have we seen someone dominate TK on the ground like Lajcik has done so far.
Now, TK, to his credit, has had some great submission attempts, but Lajcik, we haven't seen him before. We know he's good at mixed martial arts from his record and his experience, but here in the octagon, sometimes the first-timers have trouble getting going, but Lajcik really able to fight his style of fight, able to maintain control on top despite those submission attempts, able to get back on top and continue to ground the pound. He's been effective striking.
Maurice Smith talking to himself in the corner and says, hey, he's going for one of my moves. The Alliance, they're like brothers now, Maurice Smith and TK. They always talk about
2 minutes left,
TK beat
2 minutes, you
Maurice
gotta
in
work.
rings.
We've seen Kohsaka go the distance. We know he's got great stamina, but
absolutely.
Tim Lajcik here just seems to continue to spend energy, and he's doing it effectively. And again, an arms attempt there, but Lajcik able to power through.
There's the TK guard. Sort of. Got the legs on the outside. Maurice Smith was telling me to watch closely, Jeff, and you and I talked about it before the show, how the TK guard is a bit different than some of the other guards we see demonstrated.
Well, most wrap from the outside. What he tries to do is keep his legs in the middle, and what that's going to do is elevate his opponent's hips. Once the hips come up, his center of gravity is offset like that, and he's able to get the reversal. Now we get to see what TK can do. Very technical on top, submission specialist, but he now starts to rain some blows down.
Still in front of Lajcik's corner, though, in Eugene Jackson, but TK with a side mount and finally an opportunity to score some points here with 50 seconds remaining in round number 2.
Work it.
Reversals count very big here. They're the same as a takedown. It's a great move to be able to switch places. And it was all TK. It wasn't as though Lajcik slipped or fell. It was TK's guard, elevating, rolling back, off balancing, and then eventually taking control.
What a great night tonight. Glad you are with us for UFC 21. Here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Eugene Jackson, a great middleweight bout, and so far 2 heavyweights giving it everything. Kohsaka and Lajcik. And Kohsaka trying to score some dearly needed points here to close out round number 2.
We're nearly done with round number 2. Kohsaka with a flurry here at the end of seems to be putting himself back into this fight.
I agree.
Take his face off. I want that white off. There's a box right there. Okay, TK. Okay. He's tired. He's tired, TK. He is tired now. Give him the towel. He's very tired, TK. Continue on? Yeah. Good job, man. Okay, listen. He's tired. He's very tired. You gotta push him now.
He just threw in the towel. He just threw in the towel.
Use your guard. Use your guard. You're not using it.
They just threw in the towel. Eugene Jackson's corner just threw in the towel. Tim Lajcik, for some reason, unable to continue.
Yep, it is over. Tsuyoshi Kohsaka reigns victorious. Eugene Jackson explaining it. We can hear he's staggered, his eyes and pupils, and the fighter's safety of the utmost importance, and what a great show of class and courage for Eugene Jackson to do that for his partner, because we want all our fighters to be safe. Tsuyoshi Kohsaka wins as the towel thrown in on Tim Lajcik.
Lajcik nearly fell over while hanging on to the fence talking to Eugene Jackson. It was right after he almost fell backwards that they threw in the towel.
Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of round 2, Tim Lajcik's corner has thrown in the towel. Referee John McCarthy has stopped the fight for the winner, Tsuyoshi Kohsaka. Let's have a hand for Mr. Tim Lajcik.
Well, you hear some boos cascading down because people like to see a fight to the finish, but in mixed martial arts, a tap out or a submission is a loss with honor to come back and fight another day. And it was Tim Lajcik who seemed to be in control of the fight early until Kohsaka was able to get a reversal right here. And once he got the reversal, could it be that Tim Lajcik, who seemed to have great stamina, suddenly seemed to run out of it? And Kohsaka here just started to take off. This is the TK guard, the legs underneath, and what he does is elevate you. Get those hips up, and he came out back door, covered Lajcik, and once he was able to get this side mount, he never left it, and he continued to go ahead and throw effective strikes with elbows and fists. Earlier on, it was Kohsaka trying to reverse Lajcik, and he did this several times throughout the first and second period, trying to go ahead and lock something up, but to his credit, Lajcik never panicked, great composure, and was able to turn it back around and get back down. You see Kohsaka trying to get that ankle, but he never was able to get it. And Maurice Smith, at the end of that fight, happy for his alliance partner, Tsuyoshi Kohsaka. Let's go to Mikey Goldberg with our winner, Tsuyoshi Kohsaka.
Well, thank you, Jeffrey. We are with TK. TK, congratulations. You got the better of Tim Lajcik, and conditioning turned out to be a factor.
Yeah, he was really tough, I think. But so, I felt he getting tired. Then that's the first round I was just defense or his striking. Yeah, after that, I thought maybe I can get a chance. Yeah.
TK, he had great quickness. You tried to apply a couple of things to him, and he slid right away. He had great wrestling skills. You agree?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think so.
Hey, Mo, bring in Maurice Smith. We look forward to seeing Maurice Smith fight a little later tonight in the main event against Marco Ruas. You told me a little bit about the TK guard and how it differed yesterday. And the first time TK applied the true TK guard, all of a sudden the fight took a different twist.
Yeah, he did, but he didn't do it enough. It saved him a lot of when he's in position. Yeah. But it works a lot. He got out of position, but then the guy was strong, very strong kid. But the guard is great. It's a great guard for fighting, and we're going to keep doing it.
Well, we wish you luck later on tonight, Maurice Smith against Marco Ruas.
Thank you very much, and looking forward to it.
And TK, congratulations again, and I know you will continue to be a contender here in the heavyweight division.
Yes, maybe. Yes, I hope if I get a chance for try to get a heavyweight title, I want to try that. Yeah.
What's the title shot, baby? What's the title shot?
Nothing like the TK guard. Look forward to your fight later. Again, congratulations, TK. Back to another heavyweight, my partner, Jeffy Blatnick.
Thanks, Mike. I like Tsuyoshi Kohsaka, classy athlete, and here's that Kohsaka guard able to elevate his opponent. Once you get those hips up, the center of gravity is tough to control, but Kohsaka able to reverse his opponent, Lajcik, and once he got here in side control, he hit him with lots of strikes, and Lajcik unable to come out of the corner. Your winner by submission, Tsuyoshi Kohsaka. And he's put himself back into the heavyweight picture once again. And we need to tell all you fans, we have a very, very special announcement tonight. You don't want to miss this. It's going to be concerning our September show. And I truly think the mixed martial arts world is going to truly love what we have to tell you coming up a little bit later. So stay tuned. We thank you for all your support. We hope you continue to support us. Tonight's a pivotal show, and it's been your support that has gotten us to this very critical point, and we hope from this point on, mixed martial arts fans are going to have the best when it comes to this sport.
No question about that, partner. I concur. Bout number 3, back to the middleweight division here tonight in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And a fighter who has some ties to this fighting state of Iowa, Paul Jones against Flavio Moura. And it should be a very interesting fight indeed between a couple of newcomers into the true world, the Super Bowl of mixed martial arts, the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Flavio Luiz Moura, just 21 years old. This is his first time in America, his first U.S. fight. It is, in his words, a dream come true. Born in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, fighting out of Rio de Janeiro. Good groundwork, great quickness, luta libre style fighter.
Well, he wants to be a good stand-up fighter, very, very aggressive. Supposedly some good punching power coming out of this youngster from Brazil. And Brazil certainly has put some outstanding athletes into the octagon.
His opponent tonight, a middleweight fighter of a bit more age. 15 years difference between Paul Jones and Flavio Moura. This is Paul Jones, now from Boys Ranch, Texas, but he grew up in Iowa, and he said yesterday in the press conference he has come full circle. While fighting outside of Amarillo, not a big kicker, contrasting styles. He hopes tonight power and wisdom will take control of youth and quickness.
And that's what he's going to have to do. Great wrestling background out of the University of Nebraska, Omaha. He understands how to take people down, working on his striking skills, probably the grounded pound tactic. We will see.
Tail of the tape for this, our second middleweight fight of the night between Flavio Luiz Moura, luta libre Budokan fighter, 21 years old, 5'9", 175. So he gives away quite a bit of weight to 198-pound Paul Jones, who is 36 years old. For the official introductions, this man is working his 12th UFC. This is Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next fight is a 3-round fight in the middleweight division, beginning with the fighter standing to my left. He is a shoot fighter with a he's a luta libre expert with a mixed martial arts record of 5-1. Standing 5 feet, 9 inches tall, weighing in at 175 pounds, and fighting out of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Please welcome Flavio Moura. And his opponent standing to my right, he is a shoot fighter with a mixed martial arts record of 17-0-1. Standing 5 feet, 9 inches tall, weighing in at 198 pounds. Fighting out of Bays Ranch, Texas, please welcome Paul Jones. And our referee for this event is Mr. Mario Yamasaki.
So Mario Yamasaki, becoming quickly a veteran referee of the UFC, is ready to start this middleweight matchup between Paul Jones and Flavio Moura.
And we're ready to start.
Are you ready?
Are you ready? Let's go!
Here we go. Flavio Moura, 21 years old, fighting for the first time in the U.S. and it delivers a shot to Jones quickly.
And he's attacking the neck. He's got Jones's back. Look for him to throw heels, and boy, he hit Jones square on with a punch. The wrestler caught coming straight in. Now let's see what he can do here.
Now that is not the way Paul Jones wanted to start his UFC career. This is more like it. Now he's trying to get some punches in on Moura. There's the guard. Lucha Libre combines the techniques of Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu. Our loyal fans already knew that, and we thank you for remaining so loyal.
Looking for an armbar. Looking for an armbar.
Jones is a shoot fighter. He's especially good with chokes and displays great cardio. Studied judo and sambo, so he knows a bit about submissions, Jim.
Yes, he does. And Flavio Moura is pretty impressive here. Very squirmy. It's hard to control him. It doesn't seem like Jones can get set to really load up on anything. And great abs. That's what all the Brazilians need in jiu-jitsu, are great abs, that ability to curl, pull your butt up over your head while you're laying on your back with an opponent in there. The skills of these athletes are amazing. It never ceases to amaze me.
Paul Jones is a good one, 17-0-1 in mixed martial arts experience. So he's got some titles, a light heavyweight champion. He's a passive fighter, but he can be aggressive. Told me that yesterday. Married with 3 daughters, 10, 8, and 5 years old.
Good forearms coming in there from Jones as well, and this is a good tactic for Jones. Backing your opponent into the fence prevents him from really moving. He becomes more of a stationary target.
Now he's working in tight quarters. He is in the guard.
And you can just see Flavio there curling up and curling up and curling up. He's never still, and it makes it very difficult to gain any kind of balance, feeling like then you can bring power to bear to a specific point. You're spending all your time trying to brace to stay balanced. It's hard to get any energy into your strike. Continues the ground and pound tactics here. He's not even bothering to try to pass the guard.
Keep on moving, let's go.
Sergio Battarelli, Flavio's manager, brought a number of fighters into the UFC. Mike Denny was Paul Jones's coach at the University of Nebraska, Omaha, and member of the North Central Conference in Division II.
Well, he teaches physical education and is the head wrestling and football coach at Boys Ranch High School now is Paul Jones. A father, a husband, a teacher, a coach, and now a UFC fighter.
And he says conditioning is everything. If you don't have conditioning, if you can't go the distance, if you don't have the fuel, you're not ready. So Paul Jones, making that statement, you would think, is the person here who's certainly got great stem.
Now he's got a side mount.
Flavio's keeping that knee in there and really keeping him from getting full side to mount. He's effectively there, but it would be better if he could pop that knee out. Because he's going to continue to work that leg under to try to get back to at least a half a guard.
Now you talked about the conditioning of Paul Jones.
There it is. Now he's got the side.
He looks very fresh at 36 years old.
Some good elbows.
1 minute, 19 seconds. This is the first of 3 5-minute rounds.
Needs to be careful there, not get kicked. And Jones able to get down again. Flavio very active in the guard. Just unable to shake Jones.
Now, if you're wanting some background on Flavio Moura, he fights in the same gym as a couple of veterans, Ebenezer Fontes Braga, and one of the fine heavyweights in the UFC, Pedro the Rock Hizzo. They are friends, and they are gym mates, if you will. They share the same training.
Marco Ruas is involved with all of that as well.
He loves the choke.
Rear naked choke, and it's over.
There's the tap, and it's over. Paul Jones wins his UFC debut. He chokes out Flavio Luiz Moura.
And it came all at once. Came all at once.
Hey, water over here.
And that's how it can happen in most sports. Things can happen quickly. Here he takes his back, gets around his neck, and once Flavio decides to come to his feet. He locks it in tight and goes to his own back and puts the locks in, the hooks. Once those hooks go in, Moura is not going to be able to get away. But this is what we saw most of that first round, was Paul Jones on top, striking down. He eventually got the side mount and continued his striking ways. Flavio constantly trying to move on bottom, but he was really never able to shake Paul Jones. Once he took his back, hold till cold. And Paul Jones able to cinch that submission tight, our winner. Let's go to the octagon and
Ladies and gentlemen, we have
for
our
our
winner
decision.
by submission at 4 minutes, 21 seconds of the first round for the winner, Paul Jones.
Well, Paul Jones, born out of Kansas City, Missouri, in his debut in the octagon. Jones, a big winner here, taking out Flavio Luiz Moura out of Brazil, and he did it with this choke. Dragging him down, sinking the heels, and there clearly is the tap by his Brazilian opponent. Your winner in his debut in the octagon, Paul Jones, and I'm sure we'll see him again. And Mike Goldberg is now with our winner. Mike.
Well, thank you very much, Jeff. Paul Jones, congratulations. Victorious in your UFC debut. Early on, though, about 2 seconds into the fight, he caught you with one.
Yeah, he hit me with it pretty good and everything. And you know, I've had those people throwing them at me, and I've been working on how to defend myself from that. That wasn't the way I was taught, but it worked. Yeah, he hit me with a good shot and everything. But then I got back into my game plan, which was get him to the ground and everything, and got my senses about me and said, I've got to fight my game and not his game. And so it was, I felt good where I was at. I didn't like that early shot.
We talked yesterday about entering the octagon for the first time, and you had said to me, hey, I've been in a lot of fights. I am a mixed martial artist. I do this for a living. But what was your emotion the first time the gates went shut?
Oh, boy, I mean, talk about a surge of goosebumps running all over your body. I mean, you know you're in there, and the only way to get out, and the only time they're going to open that gate is when they declare a winner.
You have water?
When I felt that, I said, I've got to come out of here a winner. Next time they open the gate, I want to walk out with my hand raised high and everything. And so I got lots of people that, you know, made it possible for me to get in there. And it goes way back to when I knew John Peretti with, you know, another company. He's given me a chance. And
you're going to do a little segment.
The thing I feel like is 36 years old, an old dog can still learn new tricks.
Well, you did tonight, but you've always been good at chokes, and that's how you finished us. Take it through us.
Yeah, I softened him up and everything, and that's what I've always talked about. I'm really not a striker per se, but I do use a little bit to soften him up. And I kind of felt he didn't like him, so he turned his back, and I was able to slip that choke in there. And so that's where I went. Was my bread and butter.
Congratulations. We hope to see you again.
Thanks. I hope to be back. Say hi to all my PSDA boys down in Plainview. Thanks.
The coach, the teacher, and now a UFC winner, Paul Jones, victorious in his UFC debut. As my partner Jeff Blatnick told you moments ago, this is a very exciting night. Here tonight in Cedar Rapids, a huge announcement to be made in the history of the UFC. It concerns our upcoming fight, September 24th. For the official announcement, let's go inside the octagon. Here is Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, we promised you that we'd have some very exciting news concerning developments in the UFC middleweight division. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to call your attention to the video screen behind me for a very, very special announcement. Only one man can be called champion, and in the history of UFC, only one man has been called middleweight champion. That man is Frank Shamrock. Shamrock claimed the first ever middleweight crown in dramatic fashion, defeating Olympic gold medalist Kevin Jackson in only 16 seconds. Igor Zinoviev suffered a similar fate, being knocked cold in 24 seconds. In his second defense, the consummate tactician Shamrock solved the puzzle of Jeremy Horn in the first overtime before defeating John Lober in under 8 minutes last October.
I'll do anything. I'll fight anyone. You bring them on. I don't care who they are, what they've done. I'm up.
But since his third defense last October, the champ has been silent as a threat to his reign in the middleweight division grows.
Tito Ortiz, the bad boy of Huntington Beach, has been wreaking havoc on the division and has personally dismantled the Lion's Den. There's a new sheriff in town, and he has Frank Shamrock and the middleweight title fixed in the crosshairs.
I beat up on his two #1 guys that he used to train with, so I don't know if he has a doubt in his mind, maybe.
The time has come. Live September 24th, the middleweight championship, Shamrock versus Ortiz.
Get ready for September, that's all I have to say.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, live on pay-per-view, September 24th, the battle for the UFC Middleweight Championship of the World. And now, I'd like to introduce Frank Shamrock and Tito Ortiz with our commentator, Mr. Mike Goldberg.
Well, thank you very much, Bruce, and thank you, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. September 24th, Frank Shamrock, our reigning middleweight champion, will take on the Huntington Beach bad boy, Tito Ortiz. Frank, I will start with you. Some quotes from your future opponent. He had beaten your friends, your former teammates, Guy Metzger and Jerry Bolander. Talking about the Lions Den, he said, "I'm going to send all the kiddies back to the litter box."
It's all in good fun. Everybody knows what I do. I break people, I break legs, I break spirits. That's my job. I'll show up, I'll do my job, and I'll take care of Tito, whatever. You know.
Tito had said, we just saw it on the big screen a moment ago, what was going on. Frank's getting married, he's having an extended honeymoon. Does he want to fight me or not?
Hey, marriage has made me meaner, I'll tell you that. My lovely bride has pushed me to a new level. I want to say hi to her. And I'm going to bring all that to the ring and give a little bit to Tito and see how he likes it.
One more question. We'll get to Tito in a moment, the Huntington Beach bad boy. Are you still the champion? Do you still have those same skills?
I am not only the champion. I've taken my time. I've healed up. I've gotten better. You're going to see a better, stronger, faster Frank Shamrock when he comes back.
Frank Shamrock, our reigning UFC middleweight champion. Is he one of the next? He is a former Lions Den fighter now, Tito Ortiz, Huntington Beach bad boy, but is he the next kitten to go back to the litter box?
Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I'm pretty much a lion tamer, so we'll see how it goes when it comes on 24th, see if it be my day or not.
You have said before you enjoyed fighting Guy Metzger, you enjoyed fighting Jerry Bolander. I know in your heart you enjoyed beating them both, but what you have always wanted is to fight for the title, and the title goes through that man right there.
Yeah, it's good every time. I come in here 100%. I bring you up to a new level, each guy I come up to. Maybe he'll bring me up to a better level and get it on. It'll be good.
Why do you, Tito Ortiz, the Huntington Beach bad boy, feel like you can be the first to beat this man inside this world-famous octagon?
I don't know. I'll try to bring everything I got. I mean, I'll work on my submission, on my striking. I'll come in here a lot stronger and bigger. Tito Ortiz, this time I'll kick some ass.
Your last fight, Frank Shamrock, was one everyone thought you might get that part of your body kicked, and you proved everyone wrong against John Lober. You ready to throw strikes with this man?
I'll throw strikes, I'll kick, I'll knee, I'll wrestle, I'll do whatever. This is my game, this is my world. You step into my world, you're going to step out a loser, I guarantee it.
Frank, have some of the things that Tito has displayed against your brother Ken, against the Lions Den, have you taken those personal? Has this fight become personal?
Nothing's personally inside this ring. It's about business. You get in my way, I'm going to go right through you. That's just the way it is.
Is it personal for you, Tito Ortiz?
I don't know. It's pretty much just get rid of the old and come with the new. That's what I'm saying. That's all it is.
September 24th, live on pay-per-view. Tito Ortiz, Frank Shamrock, the UFC Middleweight Championship.
Well, they both have a lot to say. Both have great talent. Frank Shamrock, our champion, I have watched him grow from when he first entered the octagon. He is an impressive athlete. His statistics of victory spell that out. But Tito Ortiz, he is the young buck. He's got youth on his side. He has had a run in the octagon. He is going to be a force to be reckoned with. You don't want to miss it on September 24th when these two great athletes come out there. And personally, and I'm sure many of our fight fans do want to wish Frank Shamrock and Angelina the very best health and happiness in their marriage. Frank Shamrock has answered the call. He's coming back to the octagon, and there's his brother, along with another Mike Burnett from the Lions Den.
Ken Shamrock, Mikey Burnett. I'll tell you what, partner, I wish it was September 23rd, because then those two would fight tomorrow. But that is not the case. Instead, we continue here on what has been so far a great night in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Jeremy Horn from Omaha, Nebraska, fighting out of Moline, Illinois, also fighting a lot of his time right here in Iowa with Pat Miletich, taking on a newcomer to the UFC, Daijiro Takase. Takase, no surprise, fighting out of Tokyo, Japan. And Horn, remember, fought Shamrock.
Are you ready? Let's get it on! UFC fans first met jiu-jitsu expert Jeremy Horn when he took on middleweight champion Frank Shamrock for the title at UFC Night of Champions. Although a heavy underdog, Horn dominated for the entire regulation period. It wasn't until the first overtime when an opportunistic Shamrock took advantage of a Horn era to seize the victory. His second appearance was not so memorable, taking a loss at the hands of Ebenezer Braga at Ultimate Brazil. Horn returned at UFC 19 last March, taking on Chuck Liddell. In a scientific grappling contest, the seasoned Horn was able to score the chokeout victory just as time expired to secure the victory. He'll look to continue his winning ways tonight.
Well, Jeremy Horn will be the popular one here tonight. No offense to Daijiro Takase, but he is one of Pat Miletich's guys. But there is Takase. He is 21 years old, 176 pounds, from Saitama, Japan. Good stand-up skills, and he can pass the guard very, very quickly. He said he's always been interested in fighting in the U.S. He's here for the American spectators. He's here to try to win.
Well, it's interesting. These two first tales of the tape, his discipline description is he likes to be on his feet, but he can pass the guard well. I'm not sure if that means he doesn't like submissions or not, but he certainly has to have spent time on the ground to be good at passing the guard. It'll be interesting to see how Jeremy Horn approaches him if he wants to keep it on his feet.
Now Jeremy Horn is upped his percentage of reaching his potential from 20% to 50%. Never ran before he trained, never worked out. Now he's continuing to become a fighter and wants to fight the top competition. He trains with our lightweight champion, Pat Miletich, who is still on the card tonight. Last time was his first UFC win. The last time he was in the octagon, UFC 19, he choked out Chuck Liddell.
Horn has continually improved physically. When we first saw him, he looked very thin and not much muscle on that big frame of his, but now he's starting to put some shoulder on. And with that strength is going to come some new opportunities that he never could produce for himself out of just pure technique.
Now it will be a very, very good one, we expect. Daijiro Takase. Now his discipline, Kishiyaki, is really kind of a karate plus other skills. No surprise there. And jiu-jitsu is the specialty of Jeremy Horn, but Jeremy has improved his boxing skills. Stand-up boxers are coming into Miletich's gym every day. They are professional boxers. They are good professional boxers, and he is ready tonight. Jeremy Horn, much heavier. Official introductions. Here's Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next bout is a middle lightweight bout, beginning with the fighter standing on my left. He is a Kyokushin Kukai fighter making his UFC octagon debut. Standing 6 feet, weighing in at 169 pounds, and fighting out of Tokyo, Japan. Please welcome Daijiro Takase. And his opponent, standing to my right, he is a freestyle jiu-jitsu expert with a mixed martial arts record of 31-4-4. He is a veteran of UFC Night of Champions, Ultimate Brazil, and UFC 19. Standing 6 feet, 1 inch tall, weighing in at 198 pounds, and fighting out of Moline, Illinois, please welcome Jeremy Horn. And our referee for this event is Mr. Mario Yamasaki.
Our referee again, Mario Yamasaki. And he is close to getting the fighter set for this middleweight matchup between Takase and Horn.
Horn will enjoy some size here.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go!
Jeremy talked about that yesterday. He knows he's got the strength in his favor. He has really been working with his punching skills too. We'll see if he displays any of them. Not an ounce of fat on young Daijiro Takasi.
Sometimes when people learn striking skills, particularly boxing skills, and you go to boxing because they're the purest when it comes to learning how to punch. Sometimes they think all of a sudden that they can punch, and you wonder if Jeremy Horn's going to back away from really what has made him a great mixed martial arts athlete, and that is his ground game.
Takasi's bio tells us that his stand-up skills are amongst his most efficient also. So don't want to walk into something that could be loaded with fire, right, partner?
That is exactly what I am saying. If this guy likes stand-up, if he likes to punch, I'm not sure, you know, how much energy he can generate with his punches. I haven't seen any. He's a southpaw too. Jeremy needs to kind of circle to his left, away from the power hand.
Connected. You could hear it over here. You could hear it on the top row here at the Five Seasons Center in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Mike Goldberg, Jeff Blatnick, our fine UFC crew here tonight for UFC 21. We have come of age.
Come on, guys, let's fight.
And still ahead on the card, the lightweight championship between Pat Miletich and Andre Pederneiras, and our feature heavyweight bout between Maurice Smith and Marco Ruas. And then as just officially announced moments ago, September 24th, middleweight title on the line between Frank Shamrock and Tito Ortiz. Horn connected with a right a moment ago, Jeff.
He also tried to bring that knee up. He's doing it again, controlling the head and attacking with the knee. And I'm not sure Takasi's got the size to be going under the length of Jeremy Horn.
Jeremy Horn says he gets a little better, a little more comfortable. That's what Mark Hansen's saying right there. A little more comfortable, a little bit relaxed.
Relax.
And feels a little better after each one of these competitions.
Nice.
Working the head, working the body with the knees. Nice change off by Horn. Forearm to the head.
Now Takasi has fought UFC veteran Emmanuel Yarbrough. 600-pound Emmanuel. And he wore him out, but he never did this because he just kind of danced around him, got some strikes in.
Nothing went to the ground. If Yarbrough got on top of him, that would be tough for Takasi, but it never got down to the ground, and Yarbrough eventually gassed trying to chase Takasi around.
That may be one man who, if he got the right position on the ground on you, my partner, it would even be tough for you to get up.
Yeah, the biggest I've ever wrestled was 460 pounds.
Just at about 180.
Stay tight.
Middleweights here. But there is a definite story in the weight difference. 176-pound Takasi. Horn just getting under the 200-pound limit for a middleweight yesterday in our official weigh-in sanctioned by the MMAC. And tonight and this weekend, the Iowa Fight Commission.
We've added Iowa to our repertoire of state commissions that we have worked with successfully. Someone who has put on mixed martial arts show here in Iowa many times, is a great help in bringing the UFC to Iowa.
Jeremy Horn knows all about the tradition here because he works in Pat Miletich's camp, and Pat a big fan of the Iowa Hawkeyes, and I said at the top of the show, Dan Gable and Hawkeyes with so many national championships, and the wrestling skills are one of the strengths of Jeremy Horn. He's learned to strike, though, from all positions. He's becoming a mixed martial arts.
Well, he's got the knee across. I wonder if he's going to go to mount. Oh, there Takasi put the knee up trying to prevent him, but it looks as though Jeremy here, he's sliding that knee slowly. There it is.
Full mount. This could be trouble for Takasi. Striking with the proper part of the forearm. That is legal. And now a left and right combination. 56 seconds left in round one. And Horn,
wow,
trying to put away Takasi.
Takasi doing everything he can to get away, but the length now, and you gotta say, it's getting some power. Jeremy Horn able to easily control him.
Takasi trying to work his way through round one. He is bloodied up. And here comes Horn again.
And this could certainly qualify as a dominating round for Jeremy Horn.
That is the definition of dominating. No punches in the back of the head. Jeremy checks off with Mario Yamasaki. Great job of refereeing by Yamasaki. And Horn was aware of the rules.
And that may be.
And that is why it was stopped. When a opponent cannot intelligently defend himself, the referee will call for the stoppage. Jeremy Horn victorious. Great job by Mario Yamasaki.
Get some water. Isn't that foul? Look fantastic, man.
Dr. Richard Istrico immediately in to attend to Takasi, and Jeremy Horn victorious in round 1 with the TKO.
That was a show there. Fantastic. That was a swim. He wasn't big enough for you. He just overpowered him.
Once he got side mount, Jeremy very good with that right knee to the head. He also followed that out at times with knees to the body. He was using elbows there near the end of that fight, though, and that really seemed to put away Takasi right there. That one hurt him. The one elbow there, you could see the blood coming from the eye. That one did cut him. Horn dominating throughout this fight. Actually took the time to look up and say, can I use the forearm this way, to the referee, who allowed him to do it. Takasi now coming up and suffered a cut next to his right eye.
Look good.
Let's go to Bruce Buffer for the announcement of our winner.
Ladies and gentlemen, the referee has stopped the fight. For the winner of this middleweight fight being Mr. Jeremy Horn. Let's have a hand for a very game opponent in Mr. Daijiro Takase.
So Jeremy Horn victorious once again here inside the UFC, so he makes it 2 in a row, and a great show of sportsmanship to Takasi, and he just one of a number of great Japanese fighters out there. There is Yoji Anjo, who made his UFC debut in Ultimate Japan. We would love to see Yoji Anjo inside the gates of the octagon again, and one of our great friends of the UFC, Mr. Kuroki, the president of UFC Japan. And wouldn't it be a thrill to all our fans if we could go over to the great and beautiful country of Japan again and have Ultimate Japan 2, as Ultimate Japan was one of the most successful worldwide events in mixed martial arts history. Great to see Yoji Anjo and one of his great business partners here in attendance tonight. Great to see Jeremy Horn get the TKO. He lost in Brazil to Braga. His debut was to Shamrock. He was 0-2. Now he's 2-0 in his last 2. Jeremy, you doubted yourself a bit early in your career. You told me yesterday you feel better and better after every fight. Have to feel great after this one.
Absolutely.
Tell me how it happened.
I was just too big for him. You know, I had about 30 pounds on him, and I just got on top and he couldn't move me, so it was wearing on him.
Did you know that going in once you saw him in the weigh-ins, that would alter your strategy a bit?
I didn't know if it would alter it or not, but I knew it'd be a big factor. You know, weight helps when when you got two guys that are got good technique. Weight plays a big factor.
You were able to do what you do best, and that is throw the fists from the full mount. And once you got in a comfortable position, the full mount, you felt like you could pretty much put it to an end, didn't you?
Yeah, I stayed on the side to wear him out a little bit, and I just moved real carefully to the mount because I knew he was trying to roll me. So once I got mounted, I knew he was tired and he wouldn't have the energy to get me off.
Jeremy, let's take a look at the end of the fight together. You'll see it on the monitor here, and as soon as the full mount came into play, he was in a bit of trouble.
Yeah. And like I said, I was just too big for him, Like I said, weight plays a big part when you got technique behind it. So.
And as you saw too, Mario Yamasaki doing a great job because, as you know, as one of our fighters, safety is the first concern. He stopped it at the right time.
Absolutely. He has a pretty bad cut, so I figured they were going to stop it after the end of the first round when the doctor saw that anyway. But a few seconds is just going to save a couple stitches.
We kidded you before, and Pat Miletich has said the same. Watch out, kid. You're going to become a contender.
One of these days, I will be, that's for sure.
Now keep her going. Jeremy Horn, congratulations.
Thank you.
He's now 2-2 in the UFC. He's won his last 2 fights. Impressive here tonight in front of some of his hometown fans as he now fights with Pat Miletich. Jeff?
Well, thank you, Mike. Very impressive by Jeremy Horn, and we're now back in the dressing room of the king of the streets, Marco Ruas. And he's part of our feature fight tonight, taking on Maurice Smith, warming up now backstage, preparing himself for that battle. And it's been a while since we've seen Marco Ruas here in the octagon. And certainly everyone in Brazil, and certainly a lot of his fans here in the United States, don't want to see him in the corner of Pedro Rizzo. They want to see him out here in the octagon fighting. And he'll be taking on former champion Maurice Smith. Coming up next here, our champion, lightweight champion Pat Miletich here in Iowa, his home area, taking on Andre Pederneiras. Lightweight title here on the line. And Miletich looking to defend his title for the second time since he was crowned lightweight champion. This should be a great matchup. Pederneiras brings great submission skills into the octagon, so Miletich will be challenged. But with his hometown here, it's certainly a big moment for him.
Now, there's no question it is, and a big moment again tonight here at the UFC in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I'm joined by our matchmaker, John Peretti. John, you're going to join us for this lightweight fight. Tell us what you expect to see.
Pederneiras, a brilliant jiu-jitsu expert. I mean, just brilliant. Ground speed, you know, acrobatics. Comes as the best teacher in all of Brazil. He knocked out Rumina Sato, the #1 fighter in the world. We have the big fight, which is tonight, and I'm really happy that Miletich can do this, and we're going to get to see the big stand-up fight versus the big ground fight.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Another great job done by our great matchmaker, John Peretti, who continues to rebook, if you will, Pat Miletich to come and defend his title against Andre Pederneiras. And you mentioned it. It could be a different fight tonight, John, in that Pat Miletich is almost somewhat vowed that he will throw punches against that young Brazilian from Rio. Pat Miletich.
Iowa native Pat Miletich made his mark in the UFC in only his first appearance in the octagon. At Ultimate Brazil, the UFC looked to crown its first lightweight champion. Miletich would take on Lions Den fighter Mikey Burnett, who had also competed in the UFC 16 tournament but dropped out with an injury after advancing to the finals. The fight went the entire time limit plus overtime. And again, Miletich came out in front on the judges' scorecards. Pat Miletich, 5 years a competitor in the mixed martial arts world with a record of 26-1-2 and a UFC record of 3-0, was now the UFC's first lightweight champion of the world. His first title defense came at last January's UFC 18, where he took on Brazilian Jorge Patino. Miletich controlled throughout regulation and overtime and successfully defended his title. A master of composure and effectiveness, Miletich always seems to find a way to win. Tonight, in front of his hometown crowd, he puts his belt on the line again.
I've been waiting for years for this event to come to Iowa, to my home state. Probably about since it started, I thought it would be ideal to have it here with the wrestling background of everybody in Iowa. And I remember when I first started watching the UFCs, I asked my manager what the chances were of it ever coming to Iowa. And at that time, it wasn't very likely, but now it's great that I have the belt. I'm competing in the event, and it's in Iowa, so it's going to be a special night.
A special night indeed for the Croatian sensation, Pat Miletich. A special night, perhaps, for this man making his UFC debut. A fight is a fight. Doesn't matter where it is. It's always an honor to fight in the UFC, but to fight for the title is something so important. It's hard to find words to describe. A quote from this young man, Andre Pederneiras, 32 years old, 5'8", 167-pound jiu-jitsu and judo specialist from Rio de Janeiro, Jeff Blackman.
And that is what he's going to bring into this octagon. He's going to look to try to go ahead and lock up Pat Miletich. That's his specialty. Andre Pederneiras, as John Peretti said, great athlete, very acrobatic, and this is going to be the challenge for our champion.
He's got lots of his own secrets, does Andre. He's going to try to use some of those tonight against this man. He's going to get a hero's welcome as he walks in with the lightweight belt. There is your UFC lightweight champion, Pat Miletich. Born in Davenport, fighting out of Bettendorf, Iowa. 31 years old. His hero is Jack Lambert, and he still works frequently with his friends from the Iowa football and wrestling team. the lightweight champion of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, Pat Miletich.
Not only has Pat been successful as a lightweight champion, he's teaching people. He's got himself quite a stable out here. Very good grappler, excellent at taking down and countering takedowns, great knowledge of submission. And he says he's neglected his striking skills and worked very hard in preparation for this fight to bring them back to a very sharp level. He says he's a better striker now than he's ever been.
He is a perfect 4-0 inside the gates of the octagon, our most experienced lightweight fighter. Pat Miletich, the champion, and yes, the belt is on the line against 32-year-old jiu-jitsu and judo specialist Andre Pederneiras from Rio de Janeiro. Nothing's any different. 2 inches in this sport, forget about it. Doesn't matter at all. The lightweight title will belong to one of these two men at the end of this, what could be a 5-round fight. Let's get the official introductions from Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next bout will decide the UFC Lightweight Championship of the World. This will be a 5-round bout, beginning with the fighter standing to my left. He is a black belt in the art of judo and jiu-jitsu. He has a mixed martial arts record of 1-0, and he is making his octagon debut. Standing 5 feet, 8 inches tall, weighing in at 168 pounds, he's fighting out of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Please welcome Andre Pederneiras. And his opponent, he's a freestyle jiu-jitsu expert with a mixed martial arts record of 27-2-2 and a UFC record of 4-0. Standing 5 feet, 10 inches tall, weighing in at 169 pounds. Fighting out of Bettendorf, Iowa, he is the UFC Lightweight Champion of the World. Here he is, the Croatian sensation, Pat Miletich. And our referee for this event is Big John McCarthy.
A partial house for Pat Miletich. Well, once they get her going, we'll see if it makes a difference. Big John McCarthy back in to officiate this matchup. John Peretti, your quick thoughts before John gets us going.
Defend the tackle for Miletich, counter punch, keep effective distance, and completely screw up Andre's game.
Are you ready?
Let's see if he does it.
You ready? Let's get it on.
Be interesting to see how Andre tries to take Pat down. I think a frontal assault on Pat is going to be very difficult. I think maybe Pat going after him may be the answer, or just a simple drag down, jumping on him and pulling him down.
Notice the Brazilians are so upright so that then they can shoot lower. It's very deceiving. He holds himself as high as possible. Miletich testing range.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing right now, is they're trying to see range.
Come on, gotta get it going.
Just pawing with that left hand.
Miletich's left hook is excellent.
It'll be interesting. I really want to see how Andre plans to solve the stand-up battle here and find a way for takedown. He hasn't tipped off his hand in any way of lowering his hips to shoot yet. Can he kick, John?
No. And also, if he kicks, he's gonna receive that straight right hand.
Couple of knees right to the midsection of Andre Pederneiras.
Circle out, circle out. Pat, disengage. Disengage. Over the top.
You hear Miletich's corner yelling to disengage, break the lock, don't get caught in something that's going to drag you to the ground, try to keep it a standing fight. Lots of strategy in mixed martial arts. Many different ways to win.
Right knee up, right knee over the top.
Let's see how the straight, power of Miletich gets in there with the classic technique of Pederneiras. See now Pederneiras disengage.
Interesting, yeah, he did. He didn't seem to want to bind anymore. Call that binding or locking up in wrestling. Lots of energy forcing into one another, and the person that's able to diffuse that, release it, and control it in anticipation of wherever his opponent's going is the one that can set up a move.
They're very close together. I mean, for a leg kick, anything like that, they're very close together. Andre landed an elbow counter to the face. You see it?
Yes, I did. Right elbow. Hit Miletich coming in. Miletich finally starting to throw the right hand. Up to now, it's mainly been left jab.
When someone gets nervous, they throw both hands up to block one punch. Andre just did that.
Interesting observation. Years of experience by our matchmaker, John Peretti, as a kickboxer. Might even catch him on Oz right now on HBO.
Andre Pederneiras, mixed martial arts record of 1-0. I know you guys have talked about that. Started training jiu-jitsu with a cousin of his at 17 years old. He's 32 now. That's 15 years of training.
I'm not sure why Pat rushed him. Maybe he thought he could just knock him down, but I'm not sure he really wants to go down, so really a rush is not an effective tactic. He'd rather maintain the distance and strike.
Pat gets frustrated sometimes because he's not putting enough. He's well aware of people saying he doesn't do enough.
He's not flashy. And I certainly think Pat Miletich is a champion, does what a champion's supposed to do, find a way to win.
Andre now realizes that the power of Miletich is very serious. He's frustrated. That's going to make him lunge.
The more you get frustrated, the more you become more desperate in your attempts.
5 5-minute rounds, guys, so conditioning will become a factor perhaps.
This fight's not going fast 5-minute rounds. Look how upright he is.
Miletich, does he sense that also, John?
Absolutely. You see Pat's chin getting closer and closer, so he can snap it back to throw the counter right. Look at Pederneiras' hands, how low they are. That's frustration.
Andre Pederneiras, his UFC debut, perhaps taking on the best Pat Miletich that we've ever seen. Perhaps.
Oh, clearly.
He said he's been working with those pro boxers, and you know, if you win or not, and he knows what he had to do was to win, and Jeff has said that before, but he's been criticized, and no one likes to be criticized. And Pat has heard the criticism, and he wants to answer the critics here tonight in front of his hometown fans. Truly a dream night for Pat Miletich.
Well, he's not boring us yet.
Not at all. What's going on at speed?
See, he's so methodical, Pat. That's why people, they don't have the patience for him.
Doesn't have the one big bomb that can come out of nowhere. He sets everything up, very deliberate in his approach. And by being deliberate, he may not be flashy, but what he certainly does is always knows where he is and control the situation to his advantage. And that's what he's done to be successful in the octagon.
Right.
Flashy or not, he is damn good.
Oh, he's incredible. And he's very different from the #1 contender, Mikey Burnett.
Mikey Burnett of the Lions Den would love to have a rematch with Pat Miletich for the lightweight championship. Stay tuned to see if will precipitate in the future. Good first round for Pat Miletich.
Did you see those right uppercuts to the lower
He hit
ribs
him
there?
with some body blows there at the very end. 3, 4 of them, and
Just
we'll see if they pay dividends later.
Yeah, take that with you when you go back to your corner.
First round, you got to bring it to him, baby.
There's Mark Hansen. And Andre Pederneiras' corner.
Looking good. All I can see is you hesitating.
Well, neither one seemed to be breathing very hard here.
Set that hook up a little better. You caught him with that hook, not real good, but you caught him. Set it up a little better. Set up a little better.
The great story, Mark Hansen and Pat Miletich. They used to play football across the line against each other. They had 2 fights growing up. They said they were both draws. These 2 guys are now best friends, as Miletich was the best man in Hansen's wedding. And I know Hansen loved watching Pat deliver these shots late.
This was early on, actually, with those nice knees to Pederneiras' midsection. But at the close of the round, Mike, you were right. He dug with his right hand, his power hand, 3, 4 uppercuts right into the short ribs of Andre Pederneiras.
Well, this is round 2. 5-minute rounds, 5 of them. John Peretti, our matchmaker, doesn't think we'll see all 5. Let's see if Andre Pederneiras can prove John Peretti wrong. Who knows?
You see Pat stepping forward between Pederneiras' legs. Before he was on the outside of his legs. Now he's stepping forward between exactly to throw the left hook.
Gotta get after it, gentlemen.
See, Andre has a lot of fear now, throwing his hands up like like he doesn't know where the punches are coming from. And it's the punches you can't see are the ones that hurt.
It's the first time he's done a change of level move, even though it was just a feint. He finally bent his knees, changed level, and forced Miletich to respect the possible tackle, takedown.
Now Pederneiras is a jiu-jitsu guy. He's a judo guy. Why doesn't he shoot then, guys, and try to get this down to the mat if Miletich is so dominant with the hands, perhaps?
Classic kickboxing move, not to answer that, to avoid your question, but the right hand is the counter for the right low kick. Andre probably has, you know, that right hand in store saying he's going to hit him, and now he realizes Pat's too fast for him.
Cut over the left eye of Andre Pederneiras.
And you notice Pat hasn't thrown one kick, so he's holding back.
That's a good cut.
There's the first.
And you saw it, Pederneiras was actually rocking backwards thinking it was a punch coming, and there's the flop. This is what I thought would be the only way for Andre to bring it to the ground.
Yeah, and he's got 2 underhooks, you know, just like Kohsaka plays the game. Except Kohsaka, oh, he got a illegal.
That could have been to the back of the head. That's a foul. Maybe they're just checking. I don't know. Elbow to the head.
Elbow to the head.
Absolutely. And Miletich complained, but look what it got him.
Looking back, there's that right hand when Pederneiras tried to kick. Miletich answered with the right hand counter, and he opened up a good cut over Pederneiras' eye.
Classic Muay Thai.
Good bang. Right down the pipe, straight right hand.
Watch it again.
Great timing by our champion, catching the Brazilian, moving in.
And Pat Miletich truly in control of defending his title, and he has done it. The fight has been stopped. Pat Miletich, the Croatian sensation, lands the big right, and the night comes to an end for newcomer Andre Pederneiras.
Pederneiras had one opportunity to bring it to the ground, but when he did, it was with a huge cut. And the fight was stopped. He was unable to continue. The doctor stopping it, and Miletich will retain his title.
On his feet, fighting, standing up. Mark Hansen attaches the belt. Pat Miletich continues to be our lightweight champion. He defends the title once again. John, what do you think?
Well, I think that he's getting better and better. He took Pederneiras out of his game, but it looked like Pederneiras intended to stand up and land the counter right and the low leg kick. He thought that he was strong enough to do that, and that proved to be not such a great idea.
It was not indeed. For the official announcement, here is Bruce Buffer.
With a referee stoppage at 2 minutes 20 seconds of the second round for the winner and still UFC lightweight champion of the world, the Croatian sensation, Pat Miletich. Let's have a big hand for the very game opponent, Mr. Andre Pederneiras.
Pat Miletich afterwards motioning over towards Mikey Burnett. Perhaps we could see that fight in the future. Take a look at the replay, though.
I'm going to say something, but I got a mic on, so I won't.
Yeah, the low leg kick countered by the crisp right hand over the top, and he turned the knuckle over. I mean, it was classic. I mean, if he would have hit him on the jaw, he probably would have knocked him out. Hit him too high on the brow, caught some bone, made a little hole.
He did indeed, and that was the end. Started to finish off his opponent, and Pat knew it. You can see from the facial expression, and he had a great reaction to the victory. A dream come true and the result that he wanted. A title defense in front of the hometown fans for Pat Miletich. John Peretti, thank you for joining us for this fight. Another great card. We look forward to September. John Peretti, our great matchmaker. Here's my partner, Jeff Blatnick.
Thank you, Mike. I'm here with our victor. He defended his title yet again in front of his home crowd, Pat Miletich. And joining me is Mr. Bob Meyerowitz, CEO and president of SCG Sports, who brings you the UFC, here to make the presentation of the medal.
Congratulations, Pat. You already have the belt. You've defended it 3 times brilliantly. This is just for you to remember what you did here in Iowa. You're a great champion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to thank all of the people from the Midwest, especially Iowa and the Quad Cities, for coming and watching the UFC. Thank you to Bob Marowitz for bringing it here. Thank you to Mr. Peretti and my manager, Monty Cox. And also I want to say thank you especially to my mother. She's been very supportive throughout my whole career. And hello to all my friends in Montreal, Canada.
Pat, obviously Pederneiras brought submission skills into the octagon. He's very technical with his submissions. Was this a worry for you, and did you try to keep this fight standing?
Yeah, I wanted to keep it standing. The one time that we went to the ground, I felt like it was going to be pretty easy to control him on the ground, but I wanted to give the Iowa crowd a show, throw some punches and some knees. I didn't put on a show for all the people that criticized me on the internet. I put on a show for all the Iowa fans who came to watch.
Certainly we know this is a big dream for you, bringing the UFC here to Iowa, being able to defend your title here in Iowa. And critics say you may not be the flashiest mixed martial artist, but I say you found a way to win. Is this going to be to continue your style? You say you want to be flashy, but it seems you win. Pat Miletich seems to stay within himself. Is this something you always try to do?
The main thing is I, like you say, try to win. That's the bottom line. Reality is not always pretty, and that's the way it goes. I'm going to find a way to win no matter who it is I'm against, and that's just the way it's going to be. I plan on keeping this title for a long time.
What's next for Pat Miletich?
From what they say, Mikey Burnett wants a piece of me, so I don't know. I fight who John Peretti tells me to fight, and that's the way it goes. You know, I don't duck people, I don't run from people. They tell me who to fight, and I fight them.
Well, Pat, congratulations not only from all your fans here in Cedar Rapids, but from all of us here at SCG and fans all across the world of the UFC. You continue to be our lightweight world champion.
Thank you.
Back to you, Mike.
I'll tell you what a night it is turning out to be. First, we announce a big middleweight grudge match between Tito Ortiz and Frank Shamrock, and Mikey Burnett from the Lions Den is here with me. You heard what Pat Miletich said. Your thoughts?
My thoughts, quit running, quit ducking, come get it.
He says he's not running, he's not ducking.
Let's do it. All these Nimrods out here in Iowa can stand there and watch all the Gableisms, can stand there all they want and see what they want to see. Everybody knows what happened in Iowa, in Brazil. Everybody knows what happened next time he'll step in the ring with me. Next time, it's curtains, baby.
Mikey Burnett, you are disappointed by that decision. Does that decision still bother you? Does it still bother you?
Nothing bothers me. You know, what bothers me is the ignorance of the fans, is not seeing what's really happening. If he wants some of me, come get it. No. I'm the lightweight champion. He's got the belt. Everybody knows he's got the belt. I'm the lightweight champion. Everybody knows I'm the best. Come get it.
Mikey, he would say it's been a while since you've been around. How's the hand? The hand okay?
The hand's damn fine, I'll say. And anybody who wants to come get some, get off the damn couch and come get it.
Mikey Burnett, thank you for being with us. Mikey Burnett has some words for our champion, Pat Miletich. He has some things to say to the state of Iowa. Is it just fight fodder or is it disrespect? We'll see what Pat Miletich thinks in months to come. Coming up, our main event, a heavyweight fight for the ages between former champions Maurice Smith and Marco Ruas. Marco Ruas and Maurice Smith should be a tremendous fight still ahead on our card tonight. You talk about great heavyweight fighters. There is one that may be as, if not more popular than any in the history of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, and he is here, octagon side with Jeff Blatnick and myself right now. He is the present World Wrestling Federation superstar. There he is, making space for himself.
It's a big old boy next to me here.
You got that right. Someone finally bigger than you.
He's pushing me out of the way here. It's
well,
gonna be a two-shot.
Let's go in the order of the events this evening, Ken. Let's start with your baby brother, Frank, and his announcement to fight Tito Ortiz. Your thoughts there?
I think it's a good thing that he came out and defended his title. I know it's been a while since he's come back and defended it. I know he got married. I know he had some things in his life that he had to take care of probably. But I think that's going to be a great fight, and it's I tell you what, that's one I want to sit down and watch. There's going to be some fireworks in that because, you know, Frank's an explosive fighter. Tito's an explosive fighter. Tito beat two Lions Den fighters, Guy Mesger and Jerry Bolender. So he's proven to be one of the toughest competitors in the lightweight. Now Frank's got to step up and fight somebody that's actually proved himself in the middleweight. And if Frank does beat Tito, then he shuts up the crowd and the critics, and Frank is the best lightweight fighter in the world. If not, then he has to start from the beginning and work his way back up again.
I think it's well documented. Tito's not on your Christmas card list. We know that. I think it's also well documented that Pat Miletich isn't on Mikey Burnett's Christmas card list.
You know, in a fight business, you almost have to do some things that are not really in character to get what you want. I think Tito's had to do what he had to do to get to where he's at, understandably, but there's some lines you just don't cross. And I had to draw that line and let him know which line he doesn't cross. I have respect for Tito as a fighter and as a person, but I think he went overboard when he pulled out that shirt. I don't disrespect anybody that comes from anybody's camp, and I may talk some, talk some trash here and there. There's nothing wrong with that. The little fire and guns and things like that. All that stuff is great. It sets up for more fights in other places. But I think there's a line that has to be drawn in our profession that, you know, there's some things that you just don't do. And one of those things he did, and then I had to draw the line. And like I said, I don't hate Tito, but there has to be a line drawn. And I think I drew that line. And if he crosses over it again, I'll do the same thing. It has to be stopped. I think that was wrong. It's not good sportsman. I think he knows it now, too. If he wants to wear a shirt that says Lion Tamer or whatever, all that stuff is good fun. Obviously, we don't like it, but it does set up for interesting fights.
Well, it does. Mikey set up an interesting fight. Did he come close to crossing that line? He's one of your guys. You love him like a little brother. Did he come close to crossing that line, challenging Miletich in the fashion that he did tonight?
No, I think, like I said, there's sometimes you have to make a noise in order to be seen. And Mikey is the #1 contender, and has been #1 contender since he fought Miletich in that controversial decision. We don't ever argue decisions because they can go either way if you don't finish the guy. So we accept that fact, but Mikey's been the #1 contender since then and has not got a shot at Miletich, and he was promised after the Townsend-Saunders fight that he would get a shot at Miletich, and he hasn't got a fight at him yet. Now, what I did, earlier yesterday was to be heard, and for Mikey to be heard in the fact that, hey, he deserves this shot. He's worked for it. Hey, Miletich is a great fighter. Mikey's a great fighter. #1 against the champion, and that's the way fights should be booked. And that's a fight that should have happened probably 2 fights ago, but it didn't. We got what we want. Let's get it on.
Jeff?
I have a question for you here, Ken. Mikey Burnett did break his hand. Is that hand fully healed, and is
Mikey
he prepared
Burnett did
to
not
fight?
break his hand. Mikey Burnett injured his hand. He never said he broke it. He said he may have broke it after the fight. Now, the fact that remains is when they asked Mikey Burnett if he wanted to fight, he wanted to fight Miletich only because he deserved that fight, and there's no reason for him to go in and wear his body down more when he already deserved to fight Miletich for the championship. Now, he beat Townsend-Saunders, and they never offered up Miletich to him, not one time.
Well, now we will see. The future will hold some interesting matchups as we get ready for a great matchup, a fight for the ages tonight. The heavyweight main event between Maurice Smith and Marco Ruas. The kickboxer against the Huats Valley Tudo fighter. 2 legends re-enter the octagon tonight.
Maurice Smith entered the octagon as one of the most elite martial artists in the world. Already a WKA and ISKA kickboxing champion, Smith was also the extreme fighting heavyweight champion when he took on heavily favored Mark the Hammer Coleman at UFC 14. What happened that night became mixed martial arts and UFC history.
Right hands by Coleman. Big right hands by Coleman. But right now he's got to handle some big punches from Mark Coleman. There are a lot of right hands, a plethora of rights. Smith gets behind him and gets up. And Smith is back on his feet where he wants to be. A right hand by Maurice Smith and a combination. There's the kick to the head.
And new UFC heavyweight champion of the world, Maurice Smith.
His first defense took place only 3 months later at UFC 15. Tank Abbott, the UFC's bad boy, would be his opponent, but was hardly any competition. The champion kept Abbott at bay with thunderous leg kicks until the Tank called it quits. Mo Smith had defended his UFC championship, was a perfect 2-0 in the octagon, and found himself the top dog in the toughest full contact event in the world.
All right, here we go. For the heavyweight championship, are you ready? Are you ready? Let's get it on!
It is underway. The heavyweight championship in the UFC. Smith, the striker, on his feet, can be devastating.
There you go.
Couture obviously would like to take it to the ground as soon as possible.
Where's that jab now? All right. Keep moving, keep moving. You're all right, Mo.
And an elbow. There's the strike from the bottom we anticipated we might see from Maurice Smith. It did no damage, though, on Randy Couture. And under 2 minutes remains here now in overtime.
And
Randy's
locked around his head. He's got it real tight, the arm to the head. Maurice really can't move, and there's pressure there. You can see Maurice is not comfortable.
The winner and new UFC.
A disappointed Smith fell out of the spotlight, choosing to focus on his alliance stable of fighters for the UFC and wait to decide on the future of his fight career. It would be over a year until Maurice Smith re-entered the octagon at last March's UFC 19. A classic confrontation, the savvy veteran versus the high-flying youngster. But on this night, youth would prevail, as Randleman controlled the smaller Smith and Mo was unable to uncork his deadly right hand. And so tonight, Maurice Smith stands at the crossroads, decorated at every level of competition, a champion 4 times over in his professional career, but coming off 2 disappointing performances and losses in the octagon. At age 37, the former champ still believes he's got what it takes to compete at this level. The world finds out tonight.
I'm out just to prove that I'm a good fighter and I'm a worthy opponent, and that nobody's gonna walk over me ever. And I figure with another 2-3 years left in my career fighting, I will be definitely in the top 10, top 5 fighters for sure.
He's a veteran, so are you, so is that man next to me, my partner Jeff Blatnick. Ken, your thoughts of Maurice Smith, how good is he?
Maurice Smith is probably the best stand-up fighter in our business today. The thing that worries me about Maurice and a lot of other fighters is after they've been in the octagon several times and they suffer from a defeat, something breaks down inside and they're not the warrior they used to be. Now, if Maurice comes out and fight like the old Maurice, he's going to dominate Marco Ruas. Now, Marco Ruas is in the same situation, is that he got, he's had some problems in his last couple fights, and he hasn't brought out the warrior spirit. So it'll be interesting to see if both these guys come out and fight like warriors and bring back the old them.
2-part question here, important question. When Marco Ruas won his title in UFC 7, you were fighting in a super fight, so he didn't have to go through you that day. Everyone in this building, everyone in the world of the UFC wants you to come back inside the octagon. First and foremost, tell us what's your latest gig in the WWF and how that's going. And second, is there a chance we could see you back inside there?
Well, July 25th, I got a pay-per-view in Buffalo, and it's going to be kind of a different thing. It's going to be the Iron Circle. We fight with a circle of cars. And so I'm enjoying my career in WWF. But you know what? I had to sit down with some of the office people in WWF, and we've come to an agreement that I'm going to get a little time off and come back and compete in no holds barred. This is what I love to do. I love the WWF. I want to continue to do that, but I need to finish what I started here, and I don't feel like I finished what I needed to start. I want to step out of here understanding either I'm the best fighter in the world still today or that I'm too old. One of the two, but I will find out and the people will know. And I think for me, I need to know this in order for me to move on with my life.
Look, what a great night here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, with Ken Shamrock vowing that he may and he wants to return inside the octagon, fight in the UFC. Let's take a look at Marco Ruas. The opponent tonight of Maurice Smith, Marco Ruas, a runner-up in Ultimate 95, the champion of the tournament of UFC 7.
In order to track the UFC career of Marco Ruas, we go back to the early days of the Ultimate Fighting Championship. It was UFC 6, July of 1995, and a new Brazilian fighter was being introduced to the UFC's American audience, a virtual unknown outside of Brazil at the time. The King of the Streets would have an opportunity to live up to his name in the octagon only a few months later in Buffalo at UFC 7. In his debut fight, Ruas immediately showed off his ground game by defeating Larry Curtin via leg lock. He moved on to the semifinals to take on Remco Pardue, winning a grueling 12-minute bout that saw Ruas showcase a variety of weapons in his arsenal. In his third and final fight of the night, Ruas took on massive Paul Varelans for the UFC 7 Tournament Championship. Again, it was a war. Over 13 minutes, the two warriors exchanged everything from punches to kicks to even more bizarre and ingenious tactics. But in the end, it was Ruas reducing Varelans' tree-trunk-sized legs to mere kindling with several powerful leg kicks, sending the 300-pounder crumbling to the ground. Ruas had taken out 3 men in one night and was crowned the UFC 7 champion. The king of the streets had lived up to all the hype. Marco Ruas was for real. Because of his impressive showing, Ruas immediately qualified for the UFC's first Tournament of Champions, Ultimate 1995. He faced UFC veteran Keith Hackney in the first round, and again outclassed his opponent, winning via choke in the 3rd minute. In the semis, Ruas went head-to-head with one of the toughest men to ever enter the octagon, the Russian bear, Oleg Taktarov. After a 20-minute seesaw battle, Taktarov took the controversial decision. A disgusted Ruas left the octagon that night and has only returned in a management capacity, working the corner for Ruas Vale Tudo student and rising UFC star, Pedro Rizzo. Still fighting internationally, Ruas feels he hasn't lost a step since his UFC debut. But the fact remains, it's been 3.5 years since Marco Ruas stepped into the octagon. Can this once great champion recapture the glory he found that night in Buffalo? Tonight, we'll find out.
We are champion. I'll give you my best. I'm back to win.
Now we know that he is back to win, Ken Shamrock. We'll ask you the same question at a later date because that's about the same time frame since you've been inside the octagon, but 3.5 years is a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time, and he's fought other places, and you know, it's going to be one of those fights in a stand-up game. I think that Marco Ruas has to get it to the ground and try and get off some of his punches on the ground and try and score some points, but don't look for a very exciting fight standing up because both these guys are real tactical on how they're throwing their punches and kick. The only time you're going to see anything really explode is if someone hurts the other guy and then they're going to go in and finish him. But this is a typical a fight where you got two good stand-up fighters. I think Maurice has the better skills standing up, and Marco Ruas has better skills on the ground. But, you know, like I said, in this type of thing, both these guys have to come out with a warrior spirit in order to fight this thing, or anybody can beat anybody anywhere.
Ken, I have a question for you. Do you think it's going to be overcoming rust on skills, having been away from the octagon so long, or do you think it's going to be a question of stamina, conditioning, who can outlast the other?
No, I think it's going to be a question of mental will.
Mental will.
Mental will. Both have demonstrated it in the past. This is our heavyweight main event. Maurice Smith against Marco Ruas. Neither are youngsters. Who knows? Maybe there'll be a new division for great heroes like this. 38-year-old Marco Ruas with still probably about 2% body fat. Trust me, he's in outstanding condition. He's ready. He is excited. And as we told you a moment ago, it's been nearly 4 years. He said to us yesterday, the UFC is like your first girlfriend. Unfortunately, you don't want to ever say it to your wife, but you're always going to love her, and you're always going to want to come back, and he is. More experienced, more comfortable, and he knows that this is the most important fight of his life.
Do you think they take that much abuse at home?
I hope not.
Right.
You're married, I'm married, Jeff's married. Absolutely not.
There you go.
Maurice Smith, the Iceman, now in the alliance with Tsuyoshi Kohsaka, already victorious tonight, and Frank Shamrock, who made a big announcement tonight that he will return to the octagon in September to fight for his middleweight belt. The former champion lost his belt in Japan to Randy Couture. The decision went the distance. Wasn't a good night for him at UFC 19 against Kevin Randleman. This is his 5th venture inside the octagon, and he is truly the master striker.
There we go.
He's learned a lot of grappling from Frank Shamrock, who learned a lot of grappling from Ken Shamrock in his training in the Lion's Den. And Maurice Smith has also worked out directly with Ken Shamrock, who will join us in the broadcast booth for this fight. Just 4 pounds the difference. The age is getting up there as we tease Maurice the last couple of days. He says, I am going to fight until I can't fight any longer. 37, 38-year-olds a fight for the ages here in UFC 21 between Ruas and Smith. Here's Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this next bout is the heavyweight main event of the evening. This event epitomizes UFC 21, the return of the champions. Beginning this 3-round bout with our fighter standing to my left. He is a Vale Judo expert with a UFC record of 4-1. He is the UFC 7 tournament champion and is also a veteran of Ultimate 95. Standing 6 feet, 1 inch tall, weighing in at 220 pounds, fighting out of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Please welcome back to the octagon, the king of the streets, Marco Ruas. And his opponent, standing to my right, he is no stranger to the octagon. He is a kickboxer with a mixed martial arts record of 4-2. He is a veteran of UFC 14, UFC 15, Ultimate Japan, and UFC 19. Standing 6 feet, 2 inches tall, weighing in at 216 pounds, fighting out of Seattle, Washington. He is the former UFC heavyweight champion of the world. Please welcome back, Maurice Smith. And our referee for this final event is Big John McCarthy.
Chief referee Big John McCarthy to work this fight for the ages. Both boxers, fighters again, wearing gloves provided by Boxer Gentix, and we thank them for their support in the UFC. Heavyweight main event.
All right, here we go, gentlemen. Are you ready? Are you ready?
See how they come
Let's
out,
get it on. Come on.
Yeah, who's going to cross over and throw the first punch to say
I think
hello?
Maurice has to press the fight and try and break. See, that's what's going to happen. And now, Ruas is going to have to get in close and take him down because he's not going to wear Maurice out on the stand-up.
Maurice feels he has something to prove again tonight after he could not do anything against the sheer size and strength of the wrestler Kevin Randleman.
He looked horrible against Randleman. Never got a right hand off, and Ruas now able to take Smith down. Smith very confident in his guard, has done well against some of our former champions using guard, but Marco Ruas, consummate ground fighter, will now be his test.
This is where Ruas has got to win the fight, is right here. If he doesn't start getting busy here and get stood up again, this is where it's going to hurt him. He's got to win the fight on the ground because I think Maurice has got too many skills stand up for him to try and win it there. He's got to do it here.
Marco's been working a lot, not surprisingly, on his endurance for this fight. He bulked up a bit too much earlier in his career. He's concentrated more on conditioning and on his grappling. And getting set to come back and try to regain that true moniker of King of the Streets.
This is where a lot of fighters make a mistake when they get in a position like this. They don't go ahead and release the head and just go ahead and get off some strikes. There's no reason why he doesn't pop up and start laying some punches in there. He's holding him, he's not doing anything. His back's against the fence. It's a great position for him to pop his head out and start striking. This is confidence right here. This is being confident enough to be able to pop out and go ahead and start throwing some strikes. As Maurice will stay here all day, he's in no trouble because he's not getting hit with anything.
There's Frank Shamrock in the corner of Maurice Smith. The alliance truly back together. Frank back at a UFC venue after his honeymoon. Ken talked about it. He's going to fight in September. And right now, he's just Maurice Smith's biggest supporter. He and Tsuyoshi Kohsaka.
Do you see Maurice's head outside?
He could be kneeing him very effectively. He hasn't done it at all.
The stomach. He's got all kinds of strikes open, but I don't. Like I said, it's whether or not you're going to come out and fight like a warrior and let it all go.
Come on, gentlemen, you got to do something.
Seems as though Ruas is just content to control. He has not moved up Smith's body at all, and he's losing now the hold on his legs.
Maurice doesn't need to try and choke here because he's going to blow his hands up because he doesn't have anything. He needs to do is get to his feet right now. Mo needs to get to his feet.
Come on.
And it's a big advantage to be in your corner Smith able to take advice not only from from Alliance member Frank Shamrock, but also from Kohsaka as well.
Yeah, it's, you got people in your ear and they're telling you things that you don't see. That does help.
Now we saw it for Tim Lajcik with Eugene Jackson in his corner earlier tonight. Good debut for Tim Lajcik.
Score that shot. That's it.
Yeah, this is what Mo needs to do. He needs to strike him from here and score some points. I mean, let's face it. These are rounds and points do count. This is where he could be making some points. Elbow in there, you could be punching. Neither one of these guys, you know, it's like we talked earlier. They've got to come out and fight like warriors and try and win the fight.
And speaking of Portuguesa, in the corner of Marco Ruas, that is for sure. Self-trained as manager, Marco. He's got a lot of great students, including Pedro the Rock Hizzo.
Right now, the fight is leaning more towards Ruas because this is where Ruas needs to be. Mo is a great defense.
Is he scoring? That's the only thing. Ruas got the takedown, but from there, he has yet to throw a single strike. He has yet to try any kind of submission. Very good at control, keeping Smith down, but this game's about scoring.
You see this level here where you see this both sides are blocked off, and Mo could turn him that way. He could roll him over very easily. He has a leg trap, he's got the arm trap. All he has to do is turn his body, he has no pivot.
Ruas is pretty low, though, between his legs, making it a little more difficult. If his hips come up, though, Ken, you're right. You get that center of gravity up, maybe like Kohsaka did earlier against Lajcik.
If he bridges up on his far foot, if he bridges up on that and traps the leg in the arm, he will get his hips up.
Maurice now starting to scoot. Looking for a leg lock right away. It's Marco Ruas.
He's working the left leg. It's Marco Ruas of Maurice Smith.
Now he's got it pretty good. He's got 2-on-1. Moura needs to be careful which way he turns. He'll heel hook him. Right there. There you go.
He's got a shot, and good job by Maurice Smith. And Ken was all over that one. He said that Marco Ruas is trying to lock it in, Jeff, but Maurice got a shot, and that made Marco flinch and drop the attempted submission.
Leg locks are tough to get unless you can get a 2-on-1 and really get control of the opponent's body.
And that's where working with Frank and obviously Kohsaka helps. And both very good at submissions, very technical at submissions.
Absolutely, absolutely. Marco Ruas works with some people, but I don't think he works with his talented people like Frank and TK, guys that are really specialists in leg submissions.
Round one's about to come to close. Maurice spins again. And he had it cranked a bit, but nonetheless, the horn sounds to signify the end of round one.
Good, nice.
I don't know, to me it sounds like, don't look like either one's ahead.
Good. No more low kicks, he's just gonna catch you.
Marco Ruas limped back to his corner.
You're gonna go high, and you're gonna punch.
Marco Ruas is now sitting on the octagon mat, holding his left knee.
This is...
Stand up, Marco, you can beat him. Stand up, Marco. Stand up, Marco, stand up.
Looks like it's an end.
Don't quit, no quit. No quit. Stand up, Marco. Stand up, Marco. You're a man.
Well,
Stand up.
Said anything. I think
Fight for your
he's just
family.
down trying to stretch the leg out, but it's definitely bothering him. Maybe in that flurry of trying to hook up Maurice's leg, he got his knee twisted. It didn't appear that Maurice ever really locked anything out to cause any kind of submission or damage.
It takes a lot of skill to be able to keep moving from one leg lock to one leg lock.
Now watch some of this knee stuff right here, guys. Maybe this is where it got twisted.
You see where he gets 2-on-1 right there?
Right there.
If he would have kept Maurice the other way, threw Maurice away from where he's turning, he'd have had a great Achilles lock.
He can't finish. He can't go. The left knee is damaged, and Maurice Smith wins this fight for the ages. He twisted something in the knee of Marco Ruas, and the king of the streets cannot come out for round number two.
Well, he limped away from that last submission attempt after he got up off the mat to go to his corner, and apparently he is not able to move that knee properly and feels as though he's vulnerable if he goes back out there, and has given up at this point. Let's go to Bruce Buffer with our decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the first round, Marco Ruas's corner has thrown in the towel. For the winner, Maurice Smith!
Well, Ken, you talked about the stand-up battle going to Maurice Smith, but it appeared that once they got on the ground and Marco Ruas's attempted submission ultimately was his downfall.
Yeah, but if you look at it, Marco Ruas was the more skilled. He tried for a lot of different submission holds. He didn't get them. It takes a lot of skill to be able to hook those down when the guy's slippery. But I saw Marco Ruas more controlling on the ground, and I knew that was going to happen, and Mo knew that was going to happen, but he had to move and keep moving until he could get his shot. But unfortunately, Marco hurt himself trying to go for submission. But it wasn't anything that Maurice did. It was something that he did to himself. And it's sad to see something in like this.
Well, it was all Marco Ruas until Marco went after one of Maurice Smith's legs, tried to hook a submission in there, and through all of this maneuvering with countering by Maurice Smith, came back on top, and that one right hand changed the course of this fight. It was Smith being on top now would start to land some strikes.
You're looking at it again for another leg lock, but you can't get it like that.
He was way up on the calf. He wasn't down low, and Smith able to turn around.
You see how his legs are open? You can't do it. You got legs got to be so tight on that knee that there's no room for him to spin his hips out. That's where you lost him.
Well, our expert commentator in the booth here is Ken Shamrock. Ken, we want to thank you for joining us here in the booth. We want to wish you well with your career with the WWF, and we certainly look forward to your thoughts and hopefully your presence once again in the octagon.
I appreciate you guys having me. It was a good night. There was a lot of great fights, and it was very interesting, and let's see what's on the horizon.
Ken, thank you very much. Let's go to the ring. Let's go to Mr. Mike Goldberg with our winner, Maurice Smith.
Well, congratulations, Maurice. Victorious. Tell us what happened to Marco, to the best of your knowledge.
I don't know. I'm going to presume that when we was locking up his legs, he might have torqued his knee or something, but I don't know exactly. I think he said he was hurt on the ground, so maybe when he was twisting around, he hurt his leg.
Well, one thing we know from documenting your career is you have improved your ground game by leaps and bounds because of the presence of Frank Shamrock and Tsuyoshi Kohsaka. And Marco looked for a few submissions. You were able to avoid them.
Yeah, I owe a lot to both Frank and TK for helping me out so much. They're great on the ground, and they're making my game, at least if I'm not as good as a grappler, I understand what's going on. So that's good. And maybe Marco will rematch again, and won't have an injury or whatever. But it's not a victory that I like to have. But a victory's a victory, and I think Marco just, like I said, he hurt his knee over there probably. So it's not a victory that I'm too happy with. But it's a start to a road back to what I was, or close to what I was.
Well, and that's the question I want to ask you, because that now becomes the pertinent issue, Mo. Lightweight challenge for Pat Miletich by Mikey Burnett. Excitement. Frank Shamrock is going to fight in September. He is going to fight Tito Ortiz. Your thoughts on that first, and then we'll get closer to your heart and the heavyweight division.
Well, Mikey Burnett's a very tough kid, and I feel that since the new rule of no grabbing, it's going to be a tough fight for Pat. They're both going to be great fights. They're both tough. Pat's got a lot of experience. Mikey's got a lot of heart. Tito and Frankie, Tito's got tremendous stamina, a lot of heart, and Frank's got a lot of heart and a lot of stamina too. So they're really going to be good fights. Of course, I have to say I'm going to go with Frankie more than Tito, because Frankie's my partner. But Tito, we got to train hard for Tito, because that kid comes to train. He's got a lot of spunk, and it's going to be a good fight.
September 24th on pay-per-view right here at the UFC. It'll be UFC 22. Now to the heavyweight division. Bas Rutten is our champion. Kevin Randleman got the better of you the last time you were inside the octagon. You've got TK. And tonight, before the fight, Ken Shamrock expressed his desire to return to the UFC in the heavyweight division. Is the belt still in your future? Is that the way you want to go? Can the heavyweight division be much better?
Well, I don't know what's going to happen with the heavyweight division. I mean, if Ken comes back, Ken and I, we're partners, so whether we fight or not is a question. We're the same crew, more or less. Kevin, I want to fight Kevin again, because I said when I fought Kevin, I wasn't the best I was sick, but that doesn't mean that Kevin didn't beat me still. I'm just saying that I didn't fight my best fight because I was not feeling well. Boss, I understand Boss is going down to middleweight, so he's not going to be a concern at this time. If he stays in heavyweight, then I don't have to worry about Boss stays in heavyweight. My goal is to get back in the top 5 fighters, so that people will know that I'm not gone yet. My thought is that maybe I got 1-2 years left of fighting, and those 1 or 2 years I'm going to give my heart. So I'm here to stay, to fight in mixed martial art for another 2 years at least, and then when the titles come, great. They don't, then I just fight in the top 5. I want to be the top 5 fighter in the world.
Wasn't the way you wanted it to be, but congratulations, you ended the losing streak, and we will see you again soon.
Oh, thank you, Mike, for the losing streak. Okay.
Maurice Smith kidding us the last couple of days, victorious tonight. A big hand for Maurice Smith, who may again fight for the heavyweight championship of the UFC. Jeff Blatnick.
Well, thank you, Mike, and it's great to see Maurice Smith once again victorious in the octagon. He talked of that future. He talked of some of the other fights that we're looking forward to here, and don't go away. We still have some more fights for all you mixed martial arts fans that have supported the UFC all along. All right, let's go back with Mike Goldberg. He has Marco Ruas in the octagon now. Let's hear from him.
Well, thank you very much, Jeff. Marco does speak Portuguese, so we will use our referee, Mario Yamasaki, to go ahead and interpret for us. Mario, the big question is what happened to Marco?
Está perguntando o que aconteceu com você.
Eu machuquei meu joelho há 5 dias atrás e mas não ia poder desistir, que já tinha fechado, assinado o contrato. Já tinha que dar uma satisfação pública e resolvi vir assim mesmo, também anti-inflamatório.
He's saying that 5 days ago he hurt his knee, but because he committed to the UFC, he came, he took a cortisone on his knee, and he had to fight just for the public.
How disappointing is it that the king of the streets couldn't come back and be at 100%?
Você está desapontado que o rei das ruas não pôde vir 100% para cá?
Muito, mas eu também ao mesmo tempo não podia desistir. Eu tinha um compromisso com o público e não podia desistir faltando 5 dias. Mas fica para a próxima, se não oportunidade.
He's very disappointed, but because he committed to the public, he didn't want to give up. He wanted to come, so he's hoping to have another chance.
Mario, last question. When Marco gets healthy, does he want to come back and give it another shot?
Quando você estiver bom, melhor, você quer vir lutar de novo?
Quero fazer uma revanche com Maurice Smith, se me derem direito.
He wants a rematch with Maurice Smith if you guys let him.
Thank you for being here again tonight. Marco Ruas, a gracious champion in the past and a gracious man again in defeat. A disappointing defeat for Marco Ruas, an injury. Not bringing him in at 100%, Maurice Smith wins the main event. And it was a main event that Maurice Smith would like to have back, and perhaps we will see those two at a later date. Earlier tonight, here in Cedar Rapids, we had some preliminary matchups in the heavyweight division. Ron Waterman re-entered the octagon. Here's the action from earlier tonight. Now, one heavyweight bout tonight, a preliminary heavyweight bout on the card. Ron Waterman entering the octagon for the second time in his career against UFC veteran Andre the Chief Roberts. Now, Roberts, the local favorite, his hometown of Tama, Iowa.
6'2", 350-pound Andre Roberts came on the scene at UFC 17. In a battle of super heavyweights, this Mesquite tribe member took out Dirty Harry Moskowitz with a thunderous elbow to score the knockout in his UFC debut. At UFC 19 last March, he entered as a last-minute substitution to fight Gary Big Daddy Goodrich. Roberts appeared uncomfortable and unprepared, and Goodrich scored the tap-out victory 45 seconds in. Disappointed by the poor showing, Andre the Chief Roberts returns tonight to prove he's got the ability and heart to compete in the UFC.
I took it as a learning experience. I got to. I mean, the UFC is a top notch. I mean, I can't come in here saying, well, I'm a bad guy. I can fight. Obviously, my last fight showed that I couldn't. So I got to be in the best shape of my life to come back to the UFC and prove I'm a better fighter than that last fight.
Ron Waterman made his UFC debut at last May's UFC 20. A physical specimen at 6'2", 260 pounds, this wrestler outclassed his opponent to take the preliminary bout win by a tap-out only 30 seconds into the fight. He makes his second appearance in the octagon tonight, hoping to build on his last win and establish himself as an up-and-coming heavyweight in the UFC.
Yeah, I would definitely like to move my way up through the ranks and face tougher opponents as I come up there, and hopefully soon I'll be facing the Pete Williams and some of the top heavyweights out there, and I just have to prove myself from the beginning and keep working my way up.
Well, a very classy young man, Ron Waterman, who understands that he's got to make his way up the UFC ladder. 33 years old, out of Greeley, Colorado. Ron Waterman, as we told you last time, is a wrestling coach at the high school level for the last 8 years, a high school art teacher who specializes in sculpture and pottery. And you want to talk about sculpted, the body of 260-pound Ron Waterman, and is exactly that.
Oh, he is a physical specimen. He's got great wrestling skills, having wrestled at Northern Colorado University. Very, very strong. And he is more of a ground and pound tactic. You know, as a wrestler learns, that's their really first style in mixed martial arts until they can assimilate that passing the guard and learning the guard position.
Well, this bout, Jeff, features two big wrestlers, because that is the specialty of Andre the Chief Roberts. He was born in Marshtown, Iowa. He lives down the road in Tama, Iowa. He is a Native American and a member of the Meskwaki tribe. Grew up admiring not just the Pittsburgh Steelers, but not surprisingly, the Iowa Hawkeyes wrestling team. And tonight in this building, he will be the fan favorite.
He certainly will. Big size, obviously a lot of strength with that size, but he has dropped 65 pounds and he's been training awful hard on the ground to learn submission and be more effective than just plain wrestling skills.
He feels great, and as he mentioned, he is in the best condition of his UFC career. Tail of the tape looks this way. Ron Waterman, the wrestler. Victorious, 1-0 in the UFC. His career lasting just 28 seconds inside the octagon is 264. And Andre Roberts told us yesterday, Jeff, he was at 400 pounds in his disappointing defeat to Big Daddy Gary Goodrich. He is his outstanding condition. Looking forward to tonight. For the official introductions of our first fighters of the evening, here's our veteran Octagon announcer, Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, our first bout of the evening is an alternate bout between two very game heavyweight contenders. Beginning with the fighter standing to my left. He is a wrestler with a mixed martial arts record of 4-0. He is a veteran of UFC 20, standing 6 feet, 2 inches tall, weighing in at 264 pounds. Fighting out of Greeley, Colorado, please welcome Ron Waterman. And his opponent, standing to my right, he is a wrestler with a mixed martial arts record of 10-1. He is a veteran of UFC 17 and UFC 19. Standing 6 feet, 2 inches tall, weighing in at 349 pounds. He's fighting out of Tama, Iowa. Please welcome Andre Roberts. And our referee for this event is Big John McCarthy.
Well, our veteran chief referee, Big John McCarthy, working his 24th UFC Return of the Champions here tonight. Our first preliminary matchup between Andre the Chief Roberts and Ron Waterman.
Big John McCarthy, a very competent mixed martial artist himself.
Are you ready? Let's get it on!
And here we go! Respect as always shown from the fighters in this event.
Ron Waterman's got a great double leg, but he shoots it kind of high. He puts it on the hip mainly, and Big Andre Roberts has some wrestling experience, and if Ron Waterman can't knock him down right away, he's caught underneath him and may take some punishment. But Waterman looks very quick. Immediately is tagged Andre Roberts a few times in the face with punches.
And knees. He is already bloodied up, the Chief Andre Roberts. They continue to go toe-to-toe, and Roberts tries to close the gap. Waterman is so strong, Jeff.
He's strong, but he's also quick. It's speed right now that's winning. Andre Roberts can't get set to get any offense, and Ron Waterman right now is dictating, forcing Big Andre Roberts just to react. Effective strikes.
Ron Waterman has been working on his boxing skills. He is first a wrestler, as he said, and they are going to check the cut on the face of Andre the Chief Roberts. Now, in the preliminary matchup tonight, we have moved to a bout system, and we have 2 5-minute periods in our first preliminary fight tonight.
The Iowa Commission doctor in looking at Andre Roberts. This is a medical stoppage.
It's okay to go. Thank you. Turn around, get back in your corner.
And it appears it's going to continue. Doctor gave his approval.
We are in our first of 2 5-minute rounds between Waterman and Andre the Chief Roberts. What does Andre have to try to do different, Jeff?
Well, Andre, I think, should sit back and make Waterman come to him and pick his place in time. When he starts throwing punches like that and missing, it gives Waterman the opportunity to come right back in behind that punch. And like that, Waterman's just playing outright quicker here, and that is what's hurting Andre Roberts.
Andre trying to close the gap, and he can't get in to body up Ron Waterman. They have been on their feet the entire time. Round 1, we have reached the 2-minute mark. 3 minutes remaining in round 1.
Good
and
left jab.
Problem.
Left jab, but real good by Ron Waterman.
There's a knee by Ron Waterman.
He can do it again.
And now he's hammering away at Andre the Chief Roberts. Big John McCarthy right there to give Andre a chance.
shot.
The top.
Big shot right there by Andre Roberts, and he can't follow it up with a knee or anything. Waterman now, if he can get that leg caught underneath, but Andre Roberts picking the ankle, doing a great job wrestling-wise to maintain belly down and not get collapsed.
What a job Andre did to take the punishment, Jeff, wait for his shot, and he took it, and now he is in command of round one.
Waterman still unable to weather that storm.
And another left.
And that's going to do it.
Down.
That's going to do it.
Chief Roberts has won the preliminary heavyweight matchup. Ron Waterman at spine. Our chief physician, Dr. Richard Istrico, in to check the condition of Ron Waterman. What a battle between two massive men, and they both delivered some punches in our heavyweight matchup.
Look out. Waterman, obviously the quicker, was taking the fight to Andre Roberts. And Roberts, for a moment there, was taking some serious punishment from Waterman. And as Waterman kept pressing in and staying very, very aggressive, Andre Roberts came out of that shell and hit him with a right and that left, and the right again, and put him down. Here Waterman was able to weather the storm. He seized the ankle and survived, but after the medical stoppage and they came out, one left hook. And that put Waterman down. John McCarthy right there to end the fight. Waterman unable to defend himself. Let's take one more look at that here. It was a clean left hand by Andre Roberts. And you see it right there on the chin of Waterman, and he went down. A great victory for this big man from Iowa. Native American, he said his ancestors came here to defend Iowa. He had to do it here tonight, and he came through in fine fashion. Little slow start, but a powerful finish.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a knockout at 3 minutes, 1 second for the winner, Andre Roberts.
Our ring announcer, Bruce Buffer, naming Andre Roberts the winner by KO, a knockout of Ron Waterman. Great job by the big fella. Waterman had still appeared dazed after he got up from that initial punch, that initial knockdown. And even after that medical stoppage and such, it was Andre Roberts who came out of his shell, hit Waterman twice, knocking him down. Waterman able to get back to his feet, but big Andre Roberts delivered a tremendous left hook, ending the fight. And he is awful happy with that performance. Let's go to Mike Goldberg with our winner.
Well, thank you very much, Jeff. Congratulations, Andre. You told me yesterday you had something to prove tonight. Did you prove it?
Yes, I did. The doctor looked at it the first time they stopped it. He said, it's broken again. I said, no, not this time. I'm going on. And I buckled down. I went at it.
What was the difference? It looked like Ron had you in trouble. Were you just waiting for your moment to tag him?
You could say that. He kept bringing his arm right, his right down as soon as he got done punching. I just waited for my moment, threw the hook, and twice it landed.
I know this feels great to your hometown fans here in Iowa, but I know how disappointed you were in your performance last time. It's been a very difficult few months, hasn't it?
It's been the toughest few months of my fighting career, I can tell you that much.
The Chief is back. Congratulations.
The Chief is back. Thank you.
Andre the Chief Roberts victorious, Jeff. Victorious rather impressively. Partner?
Thank you, Mike. And you have to give credit to big Andre Roberts. Ron Waterman came out, appeared to be taking it to him, but all that work, all that weight that he cut in order to improve his stamina, improve his performance, and come back from what he felt was a bad performance with Gary Goodridge. And he delivered that left hook, sending a very promising and physical specimen named Ron Waterman to the canvas by knockout. Our winner, Andre Roberts.
Now the chief one of the Iowa natives to win tonight, and there is Frank Shamrock. This is a live shot back here in Cedar Rapids. That fight a moment ago was earlier. Frank Shamrock will thrill us all September 24th right here on pay-per-view as he will fight for the middleweight champion. He will defend his belt against Tito Ortiz. A very memorable night indeed again, and Pat Miletich part of the memories.
Oh, certainly. To be in your hometown, to be the lightweight champion, to defend your title in the hometown, there is nothing better than that. Pat Miletich will always remember this night, the support of all the people of Iowa, but also the support of everyone that watches the UFC. He is our lightweight champion. He will continue to march on. But it was a great night. We saw some good middleweights. Eugene Jackson, Jeremy Horn, all lighting it up. Paul Jones, and then, of course, Kohsaka coming back against a very game Tim Lajcik. And then, of course, the heavyweight feature, Maurice Smith defeating Marco Ruas.
Now some exciting news came out, and again some very exciting fights. And for you to constantly stay updated on the happenings of the one, the only UFC, check us out at www.iata.com, the internet's first radio network featuring the finest in talk radio from the world of entertainment, politics, and sports, including, yes, the Ultimate Fighting Championship. For all the latest UFC information, log on to www.seg.com. That's iata.com, seg.com. Learn how to use your bookmarks and bookmark them today. Coming up September 24th, Frank Shamrock against the Huntington Beach Bad Boy. It was announced live tonight. The middleweight championship will be on the line. Frank Shamrock re-enters the octagon against Tito Ortiz. UFC 22, Friday, September 24th. Don't miss it. What a night again tonight here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Early on, Eugene Jackson made his debut against middleweight favorite, hometown favorite, Royce Alger. And Jackson showed his ability to throw the punches. With a left, the farmer went down, and Jackson was victorious. Later, Jackson's teammate, Tim Lajcik, got a good start against a game veteran in Tsuyoshi Kohsaka. Kohsaka went for a few submissions. He was not successful. Lajcik demonstrated great strength, maneuverability, and quickness. But in the end, it was Tsuyoshi Kohsaka, as unable to come back for round 3 was Tim Lajcik. Then later, the hometown boy, Paul Jones, able to celebrate his homecoming with a victory over Brazilian Flavio Moura. How impressive was Jeremy Horn tonight? As impressive as we have seen him. The hometown boy won in Paul Jones, a hometown now resident, Jeremy Horn, victorious impressively over Tsuyoshi. And then the lightweight championship was on the line, and there is the Croatian sensation. And it was a different Pat Miletich tonight. A Pat Miletich we had never seen before. One who won by a big strike, by a punch. He retains his belt. Marco Ruas, Maurice Smith, a fight for the ages. And the knee would not hold out. Although there was almost a knee and an ankle locked up by Marco Ruas in this heavyweight bout against Maurice Smith. But in the end, Big Mo moves on to the next round. What that round will be, we do not know. We are glad you are here with us tonight. We'll see you next time. This has been UFC 21.